Warcraft Invasion of Marvel. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Eternal Aquarius. Baron Mordo was slightly stunned. The mages of Kamataj must get in touch with magical entities in other dimensions of the multiverse to obtain energy and cast spells successfully. The energy source of orthodox mages is the Trinity of Vishanti. Since the first generation of Supreme Sorcerer Agamotto established the three major temples, many thousands of years have passed, and it is impossible to say how many mages there are on Earth. It is not only Kamataj and the three major temples that have mages. Some people leave, some people rebel. Some people do not want to take the responsibility of protecting the Earth, and some people surrender to the enemy. There are traitors everywhere. The source of energy is no longer just the Trinity of Vishanti. Some people contact Dormammu in the Dark Dimension, use the energy of the Dark Dimension, and gain more powerful power and the so-called eternal life. Some people also contact several major hells to obtain the energy of Hell or the Lord of Hell, such as Mephitis. Some people even contact the more terrifying Crimson Universe. But how many people can be valued and even vigilant by the Supreme Sorcerer? Ordinary traitors and leavers will naturally be dealt with, killed or monitored by the mages of the three major temples. The Earth is constantly facing many terrible threats, but only those from the multiverse will attract the attention of the Supreme Sorcerer. For example, Dormammu, Odin, and Thanos. The Hulk who appeared in recent years and the Ghost Rider who has always been there are not qualified. There is actually one on Earth? Even you can't find him? The whole Earth is in your eyes. Baron Mordo was puzzled. Is there anyone else that the Supreme Sorcerer can't find? A strange power or a powerful artifact interfered with my spell, and there is no way to accurately locate it. Ancient One was calm as usual. Powerful beings have the ability to interfere with spells, such as Thanos and Odin. But even if Odin comes, he can't avoid my eyes. Heimdall will take a look at Kamataj every day, and I will also take a look at Asgard. Mordo was stunned. He finally realized the seriousness of the problem. Is there a more powerful being than Odin active on Earth? If even you can't find him, how can the New York Temple find him? Mordo asked. The three great temples form a protective network for the entire Earth. The power left by Agamotto in the temples is much stronger than mine. Dormammu's attacks are becoming more and more frequent. Hela, Malekith, Laufey, and Surtur are all threats to the Earth. I cannot be distracted. Ancient One said, every time that existence opens a time-space channel, it will cause time-space changes, which is equivalent to providing a coordinate. Although it is interfered with, it will provide vague data every time. The more data, the more accurate the positioning. He will move, and may not stay in the same place. Mordo frowned. If he keeps changing his position, we can't find him. But if he often stays in one or several places, we can lock him. Ancient One said. Mordo was silent for 2 seconds and asked, if we find him, what should we do? Observe. Ancient One said, observe his every move, judge his ability, his style of doing things, and judge whether he is a threat to the world, whether he is an enemy or a friend. When the time comes, I will go to see him. Mordo breathed a sigh of relief. With the words of the Supreme Sorcerer, he felt relieved. In order to protect the Earth, he was willing to die, but he was not qualified to fight against a being that was likely to be more powerful than Dormammu and Odin. Such a death would be meaningless. Then, can you provide a more accurate range? This will make the search of the New York Temple easier. You are the most powerful wizard after Agamotto, and you are the true guardian of the Earth. Even if you can't accurately locate him, I believe you can tell us which city he is in. Mordo requested. I've already said that. The Ancient One had no expression. North America. Heart of Azeroth. Inside. Azeroth 5 ring road opened and closed after a few seconds, and a bottle appeared in Lao Wang's hand. His face was a little strange. Because this bottle was so familiar. The crystal magic bottle was the size of a palm, and it was constantly filled with strong magic. The things placed in it would not change at all, because of the passage of time. It was a great magic. The Betrayer, Demon Hunter, Lord of Outland, Son of Light and Darkness, Watcher of Sargeras, Lord of the Love Triangle, Lord of the Little Yellow Flower, the man defeated by the Banana Illidan's magic. Before becoming a demon hunter, he was a mage, one of the most gifted mages in the ancient times of World of Warcraft, and his magic was certainly amazing. Before the Well of Eternity exploded, he filled 7 bottles of the Well of Eternity's essence. This is the remnant of one of the bottles. Simply put, the essence of the well has been used up, and this bottle is empty. Of course, there is still a little bit of residue, which is attached to the bottle, very little, and adds up to at most 1 gram. Lao Wang can even judge from the residual breath of the bottle, that this bottle was taken from Keelthus, and it is unknown which timeline he is from. Such a big bottle suddenly disappeared. Surprised or not? 0.11 grams of Azeroth's blood, exchanged for almost 1 gram of well water essence, plus an eternal water bottle produced by Illidan. Not bad. The express delivery fee is not expensive. The eternal water bottle itself is also a very good magic item, which can be used to store wine. When I have money, it would be nice to exchange it for a few barrels of wine. Colin's Thunderbolt, Lao Chen Storm Liquor, Bravery Liquor, Free and Easy Liquor, Misty Liquor, Powerful Liquor, Tiger Eye Liquor, Tiger Whip Liquor, and Blood Activating Liquor all have magical effects, and are exclusively for monks. I'll add some Erguotao to it later. A small sip a day, and it won't be long before I'll be stronger than Captain America. Lao Wang was very satisfied. The water from the Well of Eternity nourishes all life in Azeroth, and of course it can also nourish his own body and soul. There is also 0.77 grams of blood of Azeroth, which he can exchange when needed. By the way, Lao Wang suddenly thought of a very serious problem. Will others notice if I open the time-space channel? Odin sat firmly in Asgard. Dormammu was in another dimension. Thanos was too far away. What worried him the most was actually the Supreme Sorcerer Ancient One. That person was the Guardian of the Earth, a big shot among big shots, with a status similar to Egwin and Medivh in Azeroth, and his strength must be strong. If she found out, it seems that it's actually nothing. Ancient One is pretty good. I'm not a villain. There's no need to mess with me. At most, you can monitor me, but it's not very comfortable. Opening the space-time channel will cause space-time changes. The young lady said, I used hundreds of tons of blood to interfere in disguise. The Heart of Azeroth itself has the ability to interfere. Even if there is a spellcaster of Norgannon's level in this world, don't think about accurately locating it at one time. But the more times the space-time channel is opened, the longer it lasts, and the easier it is to locate it. Lao Wang nodded. I understand. Before your strength reaches a certain level, just open it as little as possible. In fact, there is nothing to be afraid of. Even Norgannon level people can't accurately locate it. No matter how powerful Ancient One is, he is still far behind Norgannon, several levels behind. At this point in time, the only one on Earth who needs to be vigilant is Ancient One. Just be careful. See you later, young lady. Lao Wang waved his hand and left the Heart of Azeroth. Thanks to Lizan from World of Warcraft for the 500 reward. Chapter 27 True Magic and Martial Arts Dual Cultivation. Abandoned Old House. Lao Wang came back to his senses, holding the dark book in his hand. It's a pity that Lao Wang is not a wizard. Otherwise, he could learn the spells in it and get in touch with the dark dimension and hell. His future achievements may not be worse than Doctor Strange. Maybe he can even replace him and become the new generation of Supreme Sorcerer. Unfortunately, wizards are a profession that requires intelligence, and Lao Wang is still not confident in his intelligence. Wait. The wizards in the Marvel universe don't seem to have much requirements for intelligence, which is different from World of Warcraft. Baron Mordo and a librarian with the same name don't seem to have high IQs. There is no need to study magic knowledge hard, and there is no need to weave spells hard. As long as you find a way to contact the Trinity of Vishanti or other magical entities in other dimensions, you can borrow the power of the other party, which looks like a spell. This is called casting. It's awesome. The only problem is that this thing is like a castle in the air. It's unreliable and dangerous. You use other people's power. What if they don't like it? What if someone has a plan? And it seems that casting spells has a price. This price may be broken arms and legs, or being trapped in a mirror space or time island and never coming out, or damaging the body and shortening life. This is why the mages in Kamataj are all very good at fighting, and they are all Gandalf type battle mages. The main attributes are strength, agility, and constitution, and the secondary attribute is spirit. Intelligence is random, because it is really not needed. Charisma can be completely ignored. You don't even need to add light magic, and spells are given by others. Spells cannot be used indiscriminately, and there are few types. There are no frost arrows or big fireballs. In most cases, you can only fight in melee. Unlike the mages in World of Warcraft, because they start as apprentices, they need to learn a lot of magic knowledge and build a complete magic system. They often learn for several years or more than 10 years before they start casting spells. The foundation is solid, and casting spells depends on themselves, not external forces. The mages in Kamataj are more like shamans and warlocks, at least a little bit. After 2 years of learning World Shaman, he can destroy a castle. Warlocks can become stronger by selling their souls. Dr. Shanks, who has been in the industry for only a few years, but he can become the guardian of the New York Temple. Talent is very important. This talent is reflected in the communication with magical entities and other dimensions of the multiverse, as well as in the use of energy. For Lao Wang, none of this is important. The most important thing is, mages who use the power of the dark dimension and hell are eroded by the dark power, and basically have bad looks. They are no different from those who have practiced Taoism for 10 days and 10 nights. Their foreheads are black, their lips are purple, their eyes are dull, and their eye sockets are at the same level as those of giant pandas. Something seems to be wrong. Lao Wang suddenly felt that it sweeted him. After all, he was a panda with dark circles under his eyes in his previous life. In addition, it seems that he is no different from the mage of Kamataj. He can get in touch with powerful magical entities in the multiverse and regard them as a source of energy. For him, Miss Azeroth is his source of energy. So in fact, I'm not just a monk. According to the definition of the Marvel Universe, I'm still a mage. True magic and martial arts dual cultivation. The difference is that when the mages of Kamataj cast spells, there will be various costs, such as being eroded by darkness. The only cost of casting spells by yourself is money. Others cast spells for their lives, but I cast spells for money. Is there anything more tragic than this? Seeing the dark book reappear, the eyes of several new ghosts lit up instantly. Just now, the dark book disappeared, and they almost collapsed, as if their beloved woman/man was robbed. Now it is back. Don't mention how happy they are. However, the smile on their faces just appeared, and the dark book disappeared again. The mood is like a roller coaster, and in just a few minutes, it has changed at the level of a sign function. Give me the dark book. Otherwise, I will fight you. The irritable fat ghost Vincent was angry. The rational thin ghost Frederick quickly hugged him tightly. Buddy, stop it. You can die if you want, but don't drag us. I still want to start a new life. Lucy thought. It was invisible before, but now it seems to be another space. Is it the quantum realm or a parallel universe? Is it related to wormholes or phase shift? Is the boss a mutant with special abilities, or has he obtained some super realistic high technology? Sky looked at Lao Wang and said nothing. This guy has more secrets than boiled eggs. The dark book disappeared just now. Did it become invisible or really disappeared? Of course, this question cannot be asked. After all, there are outsiders. Let's find a place to get a room at night and talk calmly. In Robbie's body, the spirit of revenge rarely calmed down. It doesn't like the dark energy in the dark book, just like it doesn't like anything related to hell. But if it can get the dark book, it's actually not bad. Maybe it can also enhance its own strength. After all, compared with Zithorn, it is indeed several levels lower. Mephitis and Dormammu are not qualified. It actually wanted to snatch it away, but was afraid that Robbie would not want to. The key is that it may not be able to beat him. Lao Wang glanced at everyone's reactions and showed a warm smile like a boy next door. These new ghosts are all scientists, PhD graduates, with sufficient IQ and EQ. Logically, they shouldn't be so impulsive. It's all the fault of the dark book, which has changed their temperament, seduced their desires, and invisibly lowered their IQ. Roxxon power plant. Do you know where it is? Lao Wang stared at Lucy, smiling. Lucy was stunned. There was an incredible look on her face. The boss even knows this? Knowing about the Roxxon power plant is nothing. After all, it is a subsidiary of Roxxon Company, and Roxxon Company has existed since World War II, earlier than Stark Industries, and is one of the largest companies in the United States. Americans all know it. But what is the meaning behind this sentence? The boss actually knows the connection between the laboratory and the Roxxon power plant. The research conducted in the laboratory began during World War II. The laboratory during that period is now the Roxxon power plant. There is a full set of equipment for building quantum generators. The materials for the laboratory's quantum generators and batteries are all obtained from the Roxxon power plant. Does the boss even know this? It's too powerful, isn't it? Don't doubt it, I know more than you think. Lao Wang smiled. Unfathomable. He clapped his hands. Next, split into two groups. You go to the Roxxon power plant, and I'll get Ellie out. You can't wait much longer, right? Lucy nodded. She felt the tearing of the dark power. Hell, the dark dimension in the boss's mouth has infinite darkness, deprived of any form of light and warmth, trying to absorb any creature close to this state of existence, and I, who was trapped between dimensions, was one of them. Time is running out. There is no other choice. I can only take risks. Sky, Robbie, you go to the Roxxon power plant, and wait for me first. Lao Wang smiled. Lucy, you guys come with me. Go find Ellie. Los Angeles prison. Natasha went out for dinner, and brought Carlson a portion by the way. Shall we continue to wait? Carlson rubbed his stiff face. My experience tells me that the person who took the battery will definitely come, and he can't live without Ellie. Chapter 28. Long live Hydra. Night fell, and the lights were bright. Outside the Los Angeles prison, Lao Wang turned to a deserted place, turned on his phone and dialed. Sky, are you done? A pleasant voice came. In 1 minute, the monitoring system and communication system will be paralyzed. You only have half an hour at most. If you delay too long, I will be reverse traced by the MAC access point address. The hackers of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the police are watching the monitoring system. They are not called hackers. Sky, you are. Lao Wang hung up the phone and chuckled. Lucy, it's up to you. Lucy nodded. The 4 new ghosts floated into the Los Angeles prison and quickly found the main switch of the power system, transformed into entities, and turned off the power, then cut off all the main lines. Then, the 4 new ghosts dispersed and floated to different places in the prison. A few seconds later, Lucy saw a prison guard. Remembering the boss's instructions, Lucy floated over and passed through him. Monitoring room. While eating dinner, Carlson did not forget to stare at the screen from time to time. He can be called a model worker of S.H.I.E.L.D. Suddenly, all the screens turned into the same image. A skull with 6 curved snake legs underneath. The entire image was bright red like blood, with a pure black background, representing darkness and blood. Below the image were 3 lines of bright red words. Hail Hydra, long live the Hydra, cut off 1 head, and 2 more will grow. At the same time, a gloomy and cold voice sounded, we're back. Seeing this image and hearing this voice, Carlson spat out a mouthful of spaghetti. It almost sprayed Natasha's chest. Hydra. On the other side, Natasha, who was folding her arms and relaxing, suddenly tensed up all over. She couldn't believe her eyes. Hasn't Hydra been eliminated long ago? I've read the relevant information. It was eliminated by the Howling Commandos. The Howling Commandos, led by Peggy Carter, one of the founders of SHIELD, are heroes who inherited Captain America's legacy. Carlson put down his knife and fork and stood up. I really hope it's a prank. Otherwise SHIELD will be in big trouble. Agent Romanoff, the other party is here to rescue Ellie. Notify our people to close the net and catch fish. Natasha nodded and moved her hands a few times. I hope it's a good opponent. She picked up the communicator and dialed. There was no response. She looked at the signal again, and there was no signal at all. The image on the screen also disappeared, and the screen was full of snow. Network disconnected. The other party is more powerful than we thought. There is a problem in the distribution room, and the other party has people in the prison. Carlson said, fortunately, there is a backup plan. Be prepared. My experience tells me that the next step is power outage. As soon as the voice fell, the whole prison fell into darkness. A light came on. Carlson waved his flashlight. The prison has a generator and backup power supply, which will be connected soon. The internal network will also be activated at the same time. The network security personnel will soon restore the network and communication system, but it will take time. Let's go find Ellie. Agent Ward and his field team are outside the prison. There will be no problem. The two of them took flashlights and walked towards Ella's cell. Suddenly, they saw a few prison guards. Because they had greeted each other before, these prison guards quickly recognized Carlson and Natasha. Knowing that they were the heads of S.H.I.E.L.D., they immediately came to report the situation. However, before they could speak, the prison guards were terrified, as if they had seen a ghost, and they retreated, while holding their guns. Carlson's face changed. He saw that the prison guards' eyes were black, and they looked like they had stayed up all night for 10 days or half a month in a row. They looked more like evil ghosts in movies and TV shows, with a ghostly aura. These people are weird. Carlson quickly drew his gun. He was not afraid of accidental injury, because this was a freezing gun invented by the Science and Technology Department of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was not fatal. Director Fury had instructed that they must be alive. He didn't know if he could deal with these weird guys. However, before the gun was drawn, a shadow flashed by. Natasha bent down, bent her knees, and kicked her legs. She jumped up. Scissor kick. Elbow strike. Heavy punch. Locking throat. Disarming. Kick in the crotch. After a few muffled groans, all the prison guards fell to the ground. Natasha frowned and stood up, clapped her hands, and turned around. Just as she was about to say something, she saw Carlson become like those prison guards, like a ghost, like a living dead crawling out of hell. She shuddered and realized that something was wrong. Across the way, Carlson pointed his gun at Natasha. In his eyes, Natasha also turned into a demon. But both of them held back and did not take action. Agent Romanoff? Carlson asked tentatively. Coulson. Natasha whispered, am I also infected? Carlson smiled bitterly, me too. Looking at Carlson's smile that was scarier than a ghost, Natasha shuddered, you'd better stop laughing, it's creepy. Carlson's smile froze instantly. After 2 seconds, he sighed. Have you ever encountered such a situation? Natasha shook her head. I have encountered more terrifying guys than this. The Inhumans who manipulate fire, the unkillable monsters, the modified cyborgs, and many intelligence agencies do not believe in the real existence of the Winter Soldier, but there is no such thing. Carlson was silent. If the entire prison becomes like this, it will be the end. It will be completely messed up. What happened? Is it related to the Ghost Rider? Or is it related to the Dark Book? The two looked at each other. No one could see that the ghostly Lucy passed through their bodies, thinking. Ghost infection. The name given by the boss is really interesting. These people were contaminated with her energy, the energy of another dimension, so they looked like this, and other people in their eyes would become like ghosts, as if their eyes were covered with a layer of transparent ghost cloth, a layer of mist formed by the energy of another dimension. Thinking of the slightly fat Chinese boy who often had a warm smile on his face, Lucy's body trembled violently, fearful and curious. How does the boss know everything? Who is he? On the other side of the prison. It's time. Lao Wang took a piece of black cloth to cover his face, then jumped over the 4 or 5 meter high barbed wire. Taking advantage of the darkness, he rushed into the prison with his legs moving like the wind and his footsteps silent. Lights kept flashing throughout the prison, but none of them could illuminate Lao Wang. The prison guards tried their best to guard all passages and close all cell doors, but it was useless. The darkness could not block Lao Wang's eyes, and the prison guards could not find a figure more agile than a cheetah. No matter how strong the cell door was, it could not stop Lao Wang's true energy and fists. Occasionally, he would encounter prison guards who blocked his way. Lao Wang's moves were extremely fast. Choking, hand knife, elbow strike. He hardly used the true energy skills of the Panda Man, which was enough to deal with these ordinary people. Because he remembered the layout of the entire prison in advance, Lao Wang did not take a wrong step. In less than 3 minutes, he found Ella's cell, and saw the S.H.I.E.L.D. field team guarding the cell closely. Chapter 29 How Misunderstandings Occur. Ellie leaned against the wall, motionless, with a hint of mockery on his lips. Someone broke into the prison. Of course, this had nothing to do with him. He didn't think anyone would save him. He wasn't an important person, and there was no one outside. He was reflecting. The police couldn't find the reason why Lucy and the others disappeared, and Joseph was beaten into a vegetable, so he couldn't be interrogated at all. The matter of the book would never be leaked. His crime was mainly malicious wounding, and the laboratory accident was not his fault. Although he was sentenced to a few years, he would always get out. When the time comes, he must find a way to find the book. It is the book of God, which records the knowledge of becoming God. I'm for all mankind. Ellie clenched his fists and kept persuading himself. Mastering the knowledge in the book, he can create things out of thin air. He can solve the food crisis and make the whole world no longer hungry. He can even create life so that women don't have to endure the pain of pregnancy and childbirth for 10 months, and men don't have to doubt whether their children are their own or those of old John next door. Let men not need women. Let women not need men. Let love be just love, and true love transcends gender and racial constraints. Even if you fall in love with a snake, a ghost, a tree, or a stone, you can still reproduce, regardless of reproductive isolation. Whether you are a man or a woman, he will become a hero for all mankind, and will also become the only god in the hearts and eyes of all mankind. Thinking of this, Ellie straightened his back. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. He quickly shrank into a corner, fearing that he would be accidentally injured. It seems that the jailbreaker is very strong. Who does he want to save? The corrupt congressman? Or the boss of the 5 Street gang? It doesn't matter, it has nothing to do with him. The gunshots became more frequent, and a few muffled groans sounded. Did they all hit the door? Ellie thought about it, and hid under the bed, which would be safer. Bang! Suddenly, the door opened. A light flickered. Ellie saw a face appear on the bed. Lucy's grimace. Grinning. Another cell. A fat bald man was half lying on the bed, completely ignoring how people outside beat him. There was a big tattoo on his neck, the number 5. He is the boss of the 5 Street gang. Reform well and strive for a reduced sentence. This is his prison policy. Plus, if he keeps giving money, he will be able to get out in a few years. Suddenly, the door opened. A deep voice sounded. Boss, we are here to save you. Save me. The fat bald man was stunned and quickly waved his hand and shook his head. I won't go out. I want to strive for a reduced sentence. Wait, this is nonsense. The 5 Street gang has the ability to break into the prison to save people. Do you think you are a terrorist? Who are you? Why save me? I won't leave. I want to reform well. The night covered the bald man's unhappiness and Lao Wang's confusion. After 2 seconds of silence, the deep voice sounded again. This is not up to you. The dragon warrior says hello to you. Bang! A huge fist appeared. 5 minutes later, the power was restored. The whole prison was in chaos. A dozen prison guards actually attacked their own people. Fortunately, there were not many people, and they were quickly controlled without causing any deaths. Standing in front of Ellie's cell, Carlson and Natasha looked at each other, not knowing what to say. There were shield field agents screaming in pain all over the ground in front of him, including level 7 agent Grant Ward. Except for himself and Natasha, all of them were wiped out. It's not that they broke arms and legs. The other party didn't seem to want to go against SHIELD, so they let it go, and didn't even release other prisoners to cause trouble. But it can't be said that the other party is a good person or a saint. They broke into the prison and injured people. Can they still be good people? Ellie was rescued. The operation failed. How many people are there? Carlson was a little worried about the year-end bonus. After working hard for a year, I won't even get a bonus in the end, right? The beloved Lola is still waiting to wipe her face. Waiting to be sprayed with paint. 1. Ward endured the pain and got up from the ground, a little scared and a little excited. There is only one person. He is very fast and his fists are very heavy. We don't even have a chance to raise our guns. I have never seen such a strong opponent. He is a real fighting master, a master among masters. Natasha raised her eyebrows. Never seen it. You have seen me fight, okay. So, you think that person is stronger than me? How strong? She asked. Her eyes were somewhat dangerous. She clenched her hands, and her joints cracked. I don't know. Ward glanced at Natasha. I really don't know. He was so fast that I couldn't even see him clearly. The whole process was no more than 5 seconds. And his moves were so accurate that no action was superfluous. He was just like a veteran who had participated in hundreds of large-scale wars in the cold weapon era. Natasha was thoughtful. In modern society, where are the cold weapon wars? Could it be a well-trained killer? Natasha thought of the Red House and the training she received when she was young. Ward was not an ignorant person, and his judgment would not be wrong. The other party was stronger than himself. It seemed that he not only received the most rigorous training, but also for a long time. If so, the other party might be in his 70s or 80s, and had carried out many missions, and killed many people. Without enough time and experience, it is impossible to defeat an entire well-equipped field team so easily, and he even held back. Coulson suddenly thought of something, and turned his head to ask, Agent Romanoff, can you do it? Defeat the entire field team, before you have time to resist? Ward snorted in his heart. As proud as he is, although he admires legendary agents like Natasha, he also has his own dignity. Sir, what are you talking about? Yes. Natasha thought for 3 seconds, and answered with certainty, but I can't do it so fast. This is not a problem of skill, but a problem of physical fitness. My physical fitness can't support such a fast action, unless the other party has undergone some kind of transformation, similar to the transformation of Captain America. Coulson gave the answer. He didn't say some things, because they were secrets. Air Force General Thaddeus E. Ross, known as the Thunderbolt General, restarted the Super Soldier program. The current Hulk and the former Dr. Banner are one of them, and they are also the accidental products of the Super Soldier program. Monsters. There are more than one similar experiments. Some are military, some are government, and even civilian. SHIELD has dealt with more than one similar incident. Do we have to deal with it again? Of course, there could be other reasons, such as mutation. Even alien transformation similar to Captain Marvel, high-tech help similar to Ant-Man, or related to some mysterious organizations, such as the Hand. If it is these, it is actually nothing. What he fears most is another one. Captain America was not the first to be injected with super soldier serum, but the leader of Hydra, Red Skull. And now, the Hydra logo appears again, and even the declaration of "We are back" is made, which is a declaration of war. Did Hydra successfully develop super soldier serum? Coulson has a headache. Ghost Rider, Darkseid, Hydra, super soldier serum. This matter is getting more and more complicated. The network and communication have been restored. Coulson said, Agent Ward, assist the prison guards in maintaining order. I will apply for a Quinjet and a field team composed of medical staff, science and technology department members, and combat department members. I'm sorry, all of you must receive treatment and interrogation. Ward nodded, and the process still had to be followed. Everything that follows has nothing to do with him, whether it is from SHIELD or Hydra. Coulson and Natasha left quickly. In a deserted place, he picked up the communicator and dialed a number. Director, SHIELD may be in big trouble. Yes, the Hydra logo has appeared. Chapter 30, The Winter Soldier. Outside the prison, somewhere, Lao Wang threw the unconscious 5th Street gang leader and Ellie into the car. The former was knocked out by himself, and the latter was knocked out by Luce's group of 4. It was good that they were not killed. Lao Wang shook his head. If the space-time channel was not too expensive, and if he did not want to attract the Supreme Sorcerer Ancient One so quickly, there would be no need to go through so much trouble. It would be so convenient to just go in stealthily and take Ellie away by teleporting. This has caused a big trouble, but it is also good to directly blame it on Hydra to divert attention. SHIELD just didn't realize that Hydra still exists. Now I have reminded him. With Luden's intelligence and experience, as well as the intelligence network he has, as long as he checks, he will definitely find out a lot of people, and a purge is inevitable. It is estimated that in the short term, SHIELD and Hydra will have no time to bother me. Of course, I have to wait until this matter is over. At this point in time, Lu Dan should be planning to build the Avengers, but Ghost Rider, an anti-hero who will do anything to achieve his goal, is definitely not welcomed by Lu Dan and the SHIELD board of directors, and most likely he will not recruit anyone to join. But the Dark Book, no matter whether it is Lu Dan or the several bigwigs of Hydra, will not let it go, especially Whitehall, the Red Skull's colleague who is still alive. Does this count as a change in the plot? Lao Wang smiled and didn't care. Everything is done according to the plot, which is boring. Being a prophet is boring. Since I came to this world, I have to do something. Keep an eye on them. Lao Wang got in the car, started the engine, and stepped on the accelerator, speeding towards the Roxxon power plant. SHIELD Trident headquarters, director's office. Lu Dan rested his hands on the table and stared at the desk. The table was filled with various documents. There were photos of the scene sent by Carlson, the sealed level 10 information of the Howling Commandos during World War II, the investigation report on Ghost Rider and the Dark Book, and Hydra information. A small black cube was placed in the middle, projecting countless rays of light, turning into a concrete three-dimensional image. The content kept switching. After watching for an unknown period of time, Lu Dan closed his eyes. Ghost Rider, the 5th Street Gang, Ellie, the Power New Energy Laboratory, Joseph, the Dark Book, the sealed data of the Howling Commandos, the secret experiments during World War II, the constant search of Red Skull and Whitehall. Everything flashed and integrated in his mind. In the end, it became a name. Lu Dan opened his eyes. He grabbed the communicator and called Carlson. Take everyone and go to the Roxxon power plant. In an unknown place, Whitehall kept walking back and forth in the conference room. Finally, the phone rang. He answered the phone quickly, his voice anxious. Garrett. Clairvoyant, how is the situation? A steady voice came. Fury has not yet thoroughly investigated SHIELD, this insidious and cunning guy. He ordered Carlson and Black Widow to go to the Roxxon power plant. Quinjet took Ward and his team and sent them to a secret base for treatment and interrogation. Whitehall frowned. No thorough investigation? More terrible than a direct thorough investigation. Fury doesn't want SHIELD to suffer any serious damage. He will probably use a level 10 authority to slowly lay a net and catch them all in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that his immediate superior, the Minister of National Security and the Director of the SHIELD Board of Directors Alexander Pierce, is our man. What did Pierce say? Whitehall asked again. He is a veteran and the current leader of Hydra, but he is mainly responsible for scientific research rather than management. Moreover, Hydra is not a highly centralized organization. Each snakehead has his own sphere of influence, and they mainly cooperate with each other, so it is difficult to command others. Pierce is the head of Hydra SHIELD, and he is also the most capable and powerful one at present. Clairvoyant replied, the members lurking inside SHIELD will not take any action recently. Pierce will personally compete with Fury, and he will handle this matter. Fury trusts him. Whitehall was silent for a moment. What about the Dark Book? It is as important as the first 084. Garrett, you know your physical condition. You can't live for more than a few years. If you get the Dark Book, I can change your body and make you immortal. Now is not the time to completely turn against SHIELD. We are not ready yet. Fury's eyes are on everyone in SHIELD. This is the last time I will contact you. Clairvoyant said, the Dark Book can only rely on your people. In addition, Pierce will give you a helper. Who? Winter Soldier. Roxxon power plant. Lao Wang got out of the car and threw Ellie and the bald boss of the 5th Street Gang to the ground. Bang. Rolling in the mud. Sky and Robbie have arrived. Seeing the unconscious Ellie, Robbie's face was complicated. Kill him. Kill him. He is the one who harmed you and your brother. Let your anger burn him, and let the fire of hell punish him. The spirit of revenge kept instigating. Shut up. Robbie was upset and cursed in a low voice. Lao Wang glanced at Robbie. The spirit of revenge is really not a good thing. This guy is an evil spirit that escaped from hell. He exists on the desire for revenge. If he didn't have the desire for revenge, he would be dragged back to hell in minutes, so he kept encouraging Robbie to take revenge. He didn't consider personal feelings at all. Lao Wang still remembered the original plot. Robbie is a good kid with a positive outlook on life, a good heart, and he cares about family affection. Until the end, he still persuaded Ellie to let go. In the end, Ellie wanted to kill Robbie, so he dragged Ellie to hell with him. At least so far, Ellie has never thought of harming Robbie, and no one has thought of it. It was completely an accident. How could Robbie do it? If you really want revenge, it's better to find Joseph. But Joseph. Sky came over and said, "Wang, Joseph has been taken away." She turned on her phone and a short video clip was on the screen. There was a time on it, half an hour ago. The SHIELD Rapid Response Special Forces responsible for protecting Joseph were suddenly attacked by a group of armed bandits. RPG bombs, submachine guns, and sniper rifles were used. Except for the Captain Agent Brock Rumlow who escaped with serious injuries, no one else was spared. One of the bandits even shouted "Hail Hydra" to the surveillance camera. Then the unconscious Joseph was taken away. The camera was blown up by a shot. Quick reaction. Old Wang sneered. Joseph is the head of the laboratory and is very important, no doubt. The SHIELD technology department has a lot of black technology, even erasing and modifying memories. It is not impossible to find a way to wake up Joseph. The knowledge of the dark book he possesses is more important than a dozen scientists. It is normal for Hydra to want him. Agent Brock Rumlow is the world's top martial arts master, basically on the same level as Black Widow. It's normal that he survived while others died. Everything is normal. The problem is that Agent Brock Rumlow himself is a Hydra member lurking inside SHIELD. The famous Crossbones. Killing 3 bads with 1 stone. He took away Joseph, he killed SHIELD's rapid response team, and he made Crossbones not suspected. Really awesome. I don't know whether it was Alexander Pierce who ordered it, or another undercover, Grant Ward's boss clairvoyant John Garrett who ordered it. Most likely it was the former. The real person in charge of the execution should be other snakeheads, or even Whitehall, the old pervert. It seems that SHIELD is planning to hide important people, with Pierce, the big boss, protecting him. No matter how cunning Fury is, it's useless. Pierce was the previous director of SHIELD. Fury was promoted to director by him. Although Fury doesn't trust anyone, relatively speaking, Pierce is definitely one of the people he trusts the most, along with Coulson and Black Widow. Hydra reappears, and if nothing unexpected happens, Fury will consult with Pierce. In terms of eloquence alone, Pierce is really awesome, and Fury is likely to be defeated. We have to hurry up. SHIELD and Hydra will be here soon. Lao Wang glanced at Robbie. The meaning is clear. Next is your time to perform. Release your anger, young man. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 31, Single-handedly challenge SHIELD. Robber's face was dark, and he said nothing. He picked up one in each hand, and got into the car. He didn't even need to start the engine. He started it directly, an experienced driver. The wheels began to catch fire. Lucy glanced at Lao Wang, pitiful, with that look, that expression, and a ghostly look. Lao Wang gave her a look, and told her to experience it herself. Lucy understood. She waved her hand, and the 4 ghosts followed with a grin. In the Heart of Azeroth, the little sister quickly covered her eyes and quietly dodged a crack. Then she suddenly remembered that Lao Wang didn't come in, so she felt relieved, and took her hands away, muttering study hard, and make progress every day. What followed was a scene that was not suitable for children. Because the distance was relatively far, even with Lao Wang's hearing, he could only hear roughly, "What, I'm your uncle, for all mankind." "Lucy, listen to me. Actually, I plan to bring you back when everything is over." A lot of explanations. Completely useless. Robbie was originally an old-fashioned man who had been struggling in society for many years, and he died again, so he was not so easy to fool. Lucy and others were even more experienced, and it was impossible for them to forgive Ellie. Some people want to vent, some want to explain, some want to pray, but the final result is doomed. Lao Wang is experienced, and knew it long ago. 10 minutes later, Robbie came back. The bald head of the 5 Street gang disappeared, and Ellie woke up, having been beaten. His nose and face were swollen, and every part of his body was intact. His eye sockets were black, his lips were purple, his face was covered in blood, and there were traces of burns. He was on the verge of disfigurement, his legs were clenched, and he didn't know if he could guarantee sexual happiness for the rest of his life. But his arms and legs were fine, and he was still alive. Is it solved? Lao Wang looked him up and down, very satisfied. Lucy still gave him face. It's solved, Robbie answered in a low voice, feeling depressed. Lao Wang looked at Ellie again. How was the chat going? Great engineer. It turns out that it's all fake. There's no such thing as creation out of thin air. There's no such thing as God. The devil is more like that. Ellie rubbed his panda eyes, looked at the Chinese boy with a warm smile, and suddenly felt cold all over, as if he had walked through hell. His crotch was almost wet, and he smiled. Robbie knows that I'm actually a good person. I always abide by the law. It's all the dark book that's hurting me. He looked at Robbie, as if asking for help. Robbie looked away expressionlessly. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can do whatever I want. Lucy's 4 ghosts surrounded them with angry faces. Okay, I was wrong. I helped you build the quantum generator. Help you start a new life. I don't want to die. You have to let me go after it's done. Ellie quickly raised his hands in surrender and admitted defeat. Lao Wang didn't comment. It was indeed the dark book that was hurting me. The dark book can seduce and magnify the dirty sins in your heart, but first you have to have dirty sins in your heart. Of course, 99% of people have it. You can only say that you are unlucky and have it. I will let you go, but will others let you go? I don't care. I'm not your parents. How you solve it internally has nothing to do with me. The night is deep. The Roxanne power plant is dark. It was closed for some reason not long ago, and there are only a few security guards. Lao Wang used physical hypnosis to deal with the security guards, and then walked in leisurely. Following Lucy's guidance, he quickly found the materials he wanted. They are already made. The battery is already there, so he just needs to build a quantum generator. It doesn't need to be too good, and disposable ones are also fine. It doesn't require appearance, only the inner qualities are important. Ellie is familiar with the process, and with the help of Robbie, Lucy and others, it won't take long at all. It's a pity that he can't take it away. The battery box is not a real battery, but more like an adapter. It needs to be powered on, and it needs a very large power supply. Other places can't provide it at all, and high voltage electricity is not enough. The best way is to restart the power plant. Ellie is indeed a professional engineer and knows a lot. Time passed by minute. Suddenly, Lao Wang's ears moved. He heard faint footsteps. The guests are coming. Lao Wang smiled, took out the eternal well water mixed with wine, and took a sip, feeling the original energy of Azeroth constantly nourishing his body, which was equivalent to injecting the essence of Miss Azeroth. He resisted the pleasure of all things growing and flourishing, and turned his head to look at sky, see which side it is. Shield or Hydra. Roxanne power plant has a monitoring system. After the restart, the power was restored. Sky immediately hacked into the monitoring system, and quickly found the fleeting picture. Shield. Sky zoomed in, and the shield logo appeared on the clothes of the visitor. It was fleeting, because the shield people discovered it first, and then blew up the camera. Good professionalism. Lao Wang exclaimed, then moved his hands and smiled. Shield is here. How far can Hydra be? As soon as the voice fell, dense gunshots were heard. Sky quickly called up the video of the corresponding location. A burly man in a black and grey uniform, and with his face covered, with disheveled hair and cold eyes, strode over with a grenade launcher that looked very impressive. Then he picked up the grenade launcher. Boom. A grenade exploded in the crowd of shield. There was a loud bang, and there were heavy casualties. Throwing away the grenade launcher, the burly man with the face covered grabbed the equally impressive submachine gun. Bang, bang, bang. A series of gunshots, accompanied by short muffled groans. A shield special forces team was wiped out. Someone fired back. The bullet hit the burly man with the face covered, but it had no effect at all. Tiny bullet holes appeared on the uniform, without a drop of blood. The left sleeve was torn, revealing a shiny silver arm. A mechanical arm of unknown material, full of high tech. Lao Wang was stunned. Then he was stunned again. What the hell? This is the Winter Soldier. That guy Pierce actually sent the Winter Soldier. If I remember correctly, the next appearance should be to deal with Liu Dan, ahead of schedule. Lao Wang suddenly got a little excited. After 18 years in this world, this was the first time he had seen someone who was qualified to be his opponent. He was excited to see the prey. Captain America hadn't been thawed yet. Iron Man hadn't been kidnapped yet. The Hulk was still hiding in Brazil or Canada. Thor hadn't come down to Earth yet. The first generation of Ant-Man had broken up with S.H.I.E.L.D. for more than a decade. Captain Marvel was somewhere unknown. Who else in S.H.I.E.L.D. could stop the Winter Soldier? Hydra was ruthless enough. They were going to catch all the people sent by S.H.I.E.L.D. Wait. It seemed that S.H.I.E.L.D. was incidental, and the Darkhold was the main thing. You stay here. Robbie protects them. I'll go meet the Winter Soldier. Lao Wang was itching to meet the Winter Soldier and save some people in S.H.I.E.L.D. Coulson was a good guy, not a Hydra member yet. It would be better to negotiate with S.H.I.E.L.D. through him in the future. Others were either unreliable or too tough. Lao Wang liked soft things, and women liked hard things. Black Widow is so beautiful. If you can save her, save her. Lao Wang doesn't want to be a bootlicker. He prefers mixed race Chinese or Chinese girls, not blonde girls with big boobs, and doesn't need too much meat. After all, Lao Wang has enough meat himself. In addition, Black Widow seems to have too many romantic histories. But she is beautiful, and it is pleasing to the eyes, and without Black Widow's Marvel plot, it will be less fun. Without her, who will comfort the young and fragile heart of the Hulk? Robbie, don't let your uncle mess around, or you will mess around too, and see who can mess around more. Lao Wang warned again. Yeah. Robbie nodded heavily. He followed Ellie with a chain, never leaving. Lao Wang was relieved. Even if Ellie made a trick and sent everyone to the gap between dimensions, Ghost Rider could still kill him. After seeing the horror of Ghost Rider, Ellie probably wouldn't dare. The sound of gunfire continued. There were even small-scale explosions and collapses. Lao Wang ran towards the Winter Soldier with his bare hands and face covered. The wind blew from both sides, gently touching Sky's face. Thanks to 100 ways to detect men's lies for the 400 rewards, and Zeo and 882 for the 100 rewards. Chapter 32 Black Widow vs. Winter Soldier. Inside the power plant, somewhere not far from the entrance, a special forces unit was attacked, and there was only one enemy. Coulson held the tablet and watched the real-time video on it. His face was not very good. Is there such a strong person in Hydra? His physical fitness is very strong, exceeding the limit of human training, and is similar to the data of Captain America saved by the Strategic Scientific Corps. Wait, this face looks familiar. Coulson is a loyal fan of Captain America, and is also very concerned about the team led by Captain America. S.H.I.E.L.D. has relevant information with a low confidentiality level, including photos of those people. The person on the tablet gave him a sense of familiarity. The face shape and figure are all familiar. However, because his face was covered, he couldn't remember it for a while, and he didn't connect it with Captain America's brother, Bucky, who fell off the cliff and disappeared that year. Natasha glanced at it, and then her whole body froze, her pupils dilated, and a rare fear appeared on her face. Agent Romanoff, do you know him? Coulson keenly noticed that something was wrong. The famous Black Widow, Agent Romanoff, who had received the most rigorous and cruel training since childhood, would also be afraid. There is a killer that many intelligence agencies don't believe really exists. Those who do believe in him call him the Winter Soldier. Some people think that his appearance represents the arrival of winter, while others think that the Winter Soldier is a plan, not just one. Natasha moved her wrists uncomfortably, carefully adjusted her widow suit, and gripped her pistol tightly. In the past 50 years, he is considered the murderer of more than 20 assassinations, and none of them failed. I suspect that Howard Stark was also assassinated by him. Now it seems that he is a member of Hydra. 50 years. Coulson frowned. He looks very young, no more than 40 years old. SHIELD has relevant information, with level 7 authority, and you can apply for it at any time. Researchers in the scientific research department believe that it is related to freezing technology. He may have lived from World War II to the present and has been dormant most of the time. This technology is not too difficult. Natasha said, I was seriously injured once and almost died, you know? Coulson, I don't know. Although my authority is higher than yours, you have always obeyed the director's orders. Your whereabouts are very secretive. SHIELD rarely sees you, and only your legend remains. How would I know about your situation? Natasha explained, I was escorting a nuclear physicist out of the Middle East. Someone blew up my tiny Eridessa and the car fell off a cliff. It was the Winter Soldier who did it. We escaped by chance. The Winter Soldier opened fire and I blocked the scientist. The bullet went through my body and killed the scientist. She lifted up her shirt, revealing the wound on the right side of her waist. Goodbye, bikini. I heard that there is a perfect scar removal technology now. Well, our salary is not enough, and the director will definitely not reimburse us for such things. Coulson thought again of the year-end bonus that was basically gone, and his mood instantly went from bad to extremely bad. How scary is he? His fighting ability is similar to mine, and his control of firearms is better than mine. He never speaks, has no humanity, and is cold and silent, so he is even scarier. Natasha said without hesitation, he has a strong physique, on the same level as Red Skull and Captain America, and has undergone body modification. His left arm is a high-tech robotic arm with anti-tracking technology that even the Ministry of Science and Technology cannot crack, and it interferes with electromagnetic waves. I will deal with him, and the others will support him. Okay. Coulson was not pretentious. The fact that he was strong and a member of Hydra instantly reminded Coulson of the Super Soldier program. If nothing unexpected happened, the Winter Soldier had also been injected with the Super Soldier serum. His strength was at the tonnage level, his speed was at the family car level, his endurance was at the renewable level, his perception and reaction ability was at the monster level, and his combat experience and combatability were at the Black Widow level. This kind of monster was not something he could deal with. Wait. Ward said that there was only one person who rescued Ellie, and his strength was stronger than Agent Romanoff. Could it be the Winter Soldier? He did have this ability. But why did the Winter Soldier spare the SHIELD agents instead of killing them all? Could he be related to SHIELD? Suddenly, another gunshot rang out, and a cry for help came from the headset. Not only the Winter Soldier, Hydra also sent others, at least 50. Damn, where did so many people come from? Coulson couldn't help cursing. Agent Ward's team was sent for treatment and interrogation. The Rapid Response Special Forces were wiped out, and the only survivor was seriously injured and dying. No matter how powerful SHIELD is, it can't dispatch too many people in a hurry. Even if the Quinjet supports quickly, it will take time. Melinda May, who has been fighting side by side with Coulson, withdrew from the field service because of the Bahrain Island incident and switched to civilian work. Coulson was extremely insecure. You go deal with the others, and I will take care of the Winter Soldier. Natasha said expressionlessly, I will hold him and wait for your support. She didn't say that she could solve the Winter Soldier, and she might not be able to do it. It's good enough to hold him. The Winter Soldier is fighting, or rather, killing. He has a blank expression, sharp and cold eyes, and no distractions. Long-term brainwashing has made him passively accept and execute orders without any other thoughts. Abnormal concentration. As long as a person is focused, he can succeed in anything he does, and he can become a master in 10 years. And he has been doing assassinations for more than 50 years. Although he was in cryostasis most of the time, he was awake for a long time, constantly receiving training, mastering many languages, and proficient in hundreds of weapons, including driving the latest Quinjet. How terrifying is it to be so focused? In the eyes of some people in Hydra, he is more terrifying than Captain America back then. There are two tasks. First, get the Darkhold at all costs. Second, eliminate as many of SHIELD's manpower as possible, especially Phil Coulson and Natasha Romanoff. The first task takes priority. Intelligence shows that someone has taken the Darkhold, took Ellie away, and entered the Raxxon power plant, seemingly to conduct some kind of urgent secret experiment. He doesn't know what it is. But one thing is clear, this task is not easy. The opponent is very likely to be related to something called Ghost Rider. Less than 10 pages of information show that Ghost Rider has the same strength and speed as Captain America, as well as stronger endurance and the ability to manipulate fire. This will be his most terrifying opponent since his birth. He has made sufficient preparations. But before that, he must deal with all the enemies that block his way. Raise a gun and shoot. No one can stop him. Tens of millions of times of training have made his marksmanship better than almost everyone in the world. He doesn't need to aim at all, and he will hit the target as soon as he shoots. Suddenly, the Winter Soldier felt the danger. A 30,000 volt electric current hit him, causing him to twitch all over, almost unable to move, and almost incontinent. A macro bomb exploded instantly, followed by a tear gas ball. A series of bullets flew. A cold and beautiful tactical dagger cut through the darkness. A black phantom attacked from a distance. "Do you remember me, Winter Soldier?" Recognized the female SHIELD agent who had escaped by chance. The Winter Soldier said nothing, and a device on his left arm was activated. The macro bomb had limited power and could not hurt him at all. The tear gas ball was ineffective against him, and he had tried it hundreds of times. The strong current could instantly stun ordinary people, but it could only paralyze him temporarily, and that did not include the left arm that was anti-electromagnetic interference. He swung his left arm violently to meet the poisonous sting of the Black Widow. 50 meters away, a corridor after 3 turns. The wind blew from both sides, but Lao Wang suddenly stopped. A one-on-one park between the Winter Soldier and the Black Widow? It's not good for a man and a woman to be alone in the dark, in the same room, right? You need a 100-watt light bulb. Lao Wang showed a warm smile like a boy next door. This is really a rare scene. I have to go and take a good look, but I can't spoil their fun. I have to slow down, even slower, so that they don't notice. Lao Wang took a step. The wind blew from both sides. After 3 seconds, he stopped somewhere in the darkness. Chapter 33. It's him. It's him. The dagger was easily blocked. The tactical dagger produced by the Science and Technology Department of S.H.I.E.L.D. was made of very strong materials, but the mechanical arm produced by Hydra was also very powerful. Not only was it full of technology, but it was also very strong. When the tactical dagger was cut on it, there would be only a little scratch. This was nothing. This arm also had the ability to increase strength, which could be called the Marvel version of the Kirin arm. Very powerful. It directly knocked the tactical dagger away. Natasha felt a huge force coming. Her arm was numb, and she performed a whole set of complex and beautiful movements in midair, fell to the ground, and then kicked her legs. Jump up. Spread your legs. Close them. Twist your butt. Shake your head and bend your waist to gain leverage. Natasha sat on the shoulders of the Winter Soldier, a standard Black Widow scissor kick. Although Natasha's legs are not very thick, they are actually very strong. They can break a man's waist and neck. Anyone who uses them knows it, and most of the Marvel superheroes have a say. These 2 legs, the iconic opening and closing scissors, have broken countless people's necks. But it was useless. It didn't work on the Winter Soldier. Even using the force of the waist to knock the Winter Soldier down was useless. It was impossible. Both feet were like roots. The Winter Soldier had no expression on his face. Suddenly he grabbed Black Widow with both hands. Headbutt. Bang. The 2 heads met. Natasha was stunned for a moment and almost blacked out. She twisted her waist, and Black Widow turned into a thin loach and broke free from the control of the Winter Soldier, but was thrown to the ground by the Winter Soldier. The mechanical arm was raised. Macro missiles were launched. Natasha ran away. Boom. The missiles exploded, setting off shockwaves and rubble. Natasha threw herself to the ground and avoided most of them, but she was still hit a few times. Her back hurt, and her waist hurt even more. The Winter Soldier strode over. Natasha got up and ran. There was no way to fight. The Winter Soldier not only had strong fighting ability and physical fitness, and killed people without blinking an eye, but he was also a weapon control. He would never use weapons empty-handed when he could use them. His fighting power was too terrifying. The most important thing is that they don't fight you one-on-one. More than a dozen Hydra people rushed over. Bang, bang, bang. A series of gunshots rang out. Natasha hurriedly ran to the corner, trying to avoid it. Unfortunately, she was not fast enough. No matter how fast she ran, she could not be faster than the bullets, the dense rain of bullets. A bullet hit her, and her waist was almost broken. Then her leg was also hit. Her legs bent, and she knelt on one knee. It was not so easy to get up again. The gunshot suddenly stopped, and only heavy footsteps could be heard. It was the Winter Soldier who was heavier than he looked. What were they going to do? Natasha knew it too well. Capture alive, interrogate, all kinds of cruel punishments, even the most terrifying ones for women. It doesn't matter. I've tried it hundreds of times. If you really can't pry open his mouth, use him as bait. S.H.I.E.L.D. will take risks for the famous Black Widow. It's too important. Natasha decided not to resist. If caught, then caught. Maybe I can find out the details of Hydra and then find a way to escape. I have done this many times, and it has become a conditioned reflex. Just as she was thinking, Natasha saw a foot wearing sneakers. Then a leg wearing sweatpants. Not short, but not long. Not thick, but not thin. Then the second foot, the second leg. Someone appeared from the corner and rushed over here. Suddenly, in a blink of an eye, the person disappeared. Natasha subconsciously turned her head and saw an almost invisible after image rolling past her and rolling in front of the Winter Soldier. Yes, not walking, nor running, but rolling. Hugging up like a ball and rolling. Which special forces or assassin school taught this? Can rolling be faster than running? It's not downhill. The key is that it's really fast, much faster than the Olympic champion's 100-meter sprint. It goes against the principles of physics, right? The meatball suddenly exploded and turned into a person. He was wearing a cheap sportswear, the kind that costs no more than $20 in a roadside shop. It looked like a high-end imitation. The man stood up straight. He was about the same height as the Winter Soldier, a little fat, but not as sturdy as the Winter Soldier. Standing together, it felt like an office worker standing in front of a bodybuilding coach. His face was covered, so his appearance and age could not be seen. But he gave people the feeling that he should be a middle-aged man, because he was very calm, which was not something young people could do. Suddenly, the man raised his hand. It didn't look very fast, but it was actually very fast. Natasha could see the small words on the last line of the eye chart, and after special training, her motion capture ability was very strong. She could see every detail of the man clearly. It was not a fist, but a palm with 5 fingers together. It was printed on the Winter Soldier's chest. The Winter Soldier flew backwards, but he didn't move at all. Natasha suddenly felt that her 3 views were overturned. This really doesn't conform to the principles of physics, right? Action and reaction. We learned about it in high school physics class. When one person hits another, the force is mutual. If both are standing firm, whoever is lighter will retreat, right? Even with the momentum added by speed, it shouldn't be like this. You didn't move at all, but the Winter Soldier, who was obviously much heavier than you, flew away. Are you filming a movie? This has just begun. The following scenes made Natasha open her eyes wide and couldn't help but open her mouth. Gunshots were heard. The Hydra people were well trained and fired one after another, but no bullet hit the other party. The man rushed into the crowd. Fists, palms, legs, headbutts, throat locks, roll. A series of attacks. The movements should be elegant and beautiful. Sometimes domineering like a tiger, sometimes steady like a mountain, and sometimes swift like a leopard. It only took 9 seconds. The Hydra people were completely wiped out. Only the Winter Soldier, who was not far away, got up and was fine. Natasha suddenly remembered a report of Agent Ward before. The guy who knocked them all down in just 7 seconds was not the Winter Soldier, but the man in cheap sportswear in front of her. No wonder he didn't kill Agent Ward and the others. He is not a Hydra man, but an enemy of Hydra. Lao Wang doesn't have so many psychological activities, and he doesn't force himself to act. Key thrust, tiger palm, crane neck kick, illusion kick, wine stepping combo, and more. There are also friendly exchanges time and time again, and he learned various kung fu from 13 martial arts masters in Chinatown: Baji, Taiji, Bagua, Xingyi, Hanquin, Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, Praying Mantis. Mastering them. Doing whatever he wants. Mastering them at will. Master. easily defeating these Hydra soldiers who rely heavily on high-tech equipment. The only exception is the Winter Soldier. After being hit by the Tiger Palm with all his strength, he flew back more than 10 meters away, and even a wall collapsed, but he was fine. Is the Super Soldier Serum so awesome? Lao Wang casually brushed off the non-existent dust on his body, put his right hand behind his back, stretched out his left hand, looked at the Winter Soldier who had just climbed up, and smiled. Should I call you Sergeant Barnes or the Winter Soldier? Do you remember the Captain America in Brooklyn? Steve Rogers? In another place. Coulson, who was exchanging fire with other members of Hydra, was stunned when he heard the peaceful voice coming from the headset. The Winter Soldier is Sergeant Barnes? Didn't he fall off the cliff and survive? How is this possible? Trident headquarters of SHIELD. Director's office. Luden's black hand pointed in the air, and the holographic projection called up all the information of James Budgeon and Barnes. Several of them attracted his attention. In 1943, Sergeant Barnes was captured by Hydra, and Dr. Zoller conducted experiments on him similar to the Super Soldier program. He was subsequently rescued by Captain America, Howard Stark, and Peggy Carter. His physical fitness has improved compared to before, and his combat performance is better than others, second only to Captain America. In 1944, he fell off a cliff during a mission. Captain America once tried to find his body, but failed. Chapter 34 Kunlun Iron Fist. Greetings to you, Sergeant Barnes, Steve Rogers, Captain America. Why do these names sound so familiar, as if I've heard them somewhere, but I can't remember. It hurts. My head hurts. Strange. Why does my head hurt when I think about this? No, I can't think about it. I'm here to carry out a mission. My mission is to get the Darkhold, weaken SHIELD, and kill Agent Coulson and Agent Romanoff. No matter what kind of enemy blocks us, we must kill them. The Winter Soldier decided to ignore Lao Wang. Fighting was the most important thing. Kill this one first, and then kill the one called Ghost Rider. However, Lao Wang suddenly took out a piece of paper from his arms. It was folded and wrinkled. There was no choice. Lao Wang had to open it, then flatten it with his true energy, and flicked it gently. Go. Whoosh. The thin paper flew in front of the Winter Soldier like a flying knife. The Winter Soldier wanted to hide at first, but he always felt that this piece of paper was scary. But when he heard Lao Wang's charming low voice, it was like hearing a $10 subwoofer. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand for some reason. A residual image was drawn. He pinched the paper. He used the left mechanical arm, and the hard alloy shell was scratched with a white mark. It was incredible. This is a comic paper. One side is uneven, and it looks like it was torn from a book. The Winter Soldier picked it up and was stunned. It turned out to be a train. A train running on the edge of a cliff. The main color is white, snow-capped silver snakes dancing on the mountains, and wax elephants galloping on the plains. It's so clean in the vast white. The Winter Soldier was unhappy instantly. I don't even want to fight, and you show me this? That, the back. Lao Wang was a little embarrassed. This was picked up in the old house, where the dark book was found. The owner there is a loyal fan of Captain America. He even has a high imitation shield of Captain America, as well as a lot of comic books and posters. Lao Wang wanted to go to the bathroom at that time, and he didn't bring any paper, so he just picked up a book. I didn't expect to use it now. After a long time, it is a little moldy, but it can be used barely. I tore off several sheets at that time, but I didn't use them all. In line with the traditional Chinese virtue of diligence and thrift, Lao Wang has never been willing to throw them away. I didn't expect that it is still useful now. Winter Soldier turned over. It was still the same scene. A handsome guy holding a round shield and wearing a shameful uniform was squatting on the top of the train, with an anxious look on his face, one hand reaching down, as if he wanted to catch something. Another person was falling off a cliff, his hand reaching up, his face full of despair. Winter Soldier was stunned. He saw the faces of the two people. The face on the top was so familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere. Was it in a dream? Could he be Captain America in Brooklyn? The face below was more familiar. That was me. Some strange and unclear pictures flashed through my mind. There is Captain America, myself, a very beautiful and powerful woman, a very proud and talented scientist, and a group of very good comrades. There is a short and scary guy. There is also a more scary guy staring at the red skull. Some weapons that are ahead of their time. Too fragmented to form a story. So each one is a story. Suddenly a strange emotion came to my mind. It was nostalgia, gratitude, a friendship of absolute trust, a familiarity and strangeness that spanned 64 years. The Winter Soldier was in a trance and confused. For the first time, he became very concerned about his past. Who am I? Where did I come from? What am I going to do? What is my relationship with Captain America? His eyes were wet and his vision was blurred. What is this? Tears of weakness? No. The Winter Soldier is a warrior and must not have tears. He was no longer confused. The mechanical arm clenched and rubbed the comic paper into confetti. His face returned to coldness and he rushed towards Lao Wang. Lao Wang shrugged. I knew it would be like this. Hydra's brainwashing technology is very powerful. Even Captain America's face-to-face meeting couldn't awaken his memory, let alone a mere comic. But it should work. Maybe it will bring some unhappiness to Hydra. The right hand behind his back moved in front of him. The Winter Soldier is the Winter Soldier after all, and Lao Wang decided to use all his strength. He placed his feet in the shape of a figure eight and squatted slightly. One hand was forward, the other hand was back. Tiger style. Azor Tsubasa, come and fight. The slightly plump young man walked like a dragon and a tiger, his thick hands clasped the air and drew a circle. His every move was smooth and natural. It was like Take-Eye, like the 8 diagrams, and like an ink painting depicting 5,000 years of history. It was like running script, and like cursive script. He splashed ink, and swiped his brush, and the brush moved like a dragon and a snake. In fact, it was none of them. This was the blocking and dodging method of the wine immortal. He had taken a sip of the watered down Erguo Tau before, and now he seemed neither drunk nor awake, with an immortal demeanor, the so-called wine immortal. In the blink of an eye, he blocked 17 attacks of the Winter Soldier. You can be as strong as you want. The breeze blows over the hills. You can be as arrogant as you want. The bright moon shines on the river. Lao Wang made a mistake in his steps, turned his body, and suddenly he slapped his palm, and his true energy gushed out, making the sound of tigers and leopards thundering, stepping on the wind and hitting together. Thunder break. Bang. The Winter Soldier flew backwards again, his chest dented. This series of attacks directly shattered the carbon fiber uniform and broke through the super soldier's strong physique. With a quick and crisp sound, the ribs broke. Lao Wang was relentless. His footsteps were as fast as the wind, and he quickly followed up. A few more punches. Then a few more kicks. Rising sun kick. Crane neck kick. The Winter Soldier flew further. He directly smashed a wall. Whoosh. Lao Wang hugged himself into a ball and rolled on the ground, and his true energy burst. He caught up with the Winter Soldier in an instant. The mechanical arm swung. Lao Wang dodged sideways, put his 5 fingers together, and dropped his hand knife. He cut the Winter Soldier's left shoulder. Then he hugged the Winter Soldier's mechanical arm with both hands. Suddenly, he made a mistake. Crack. There was a crisp sound on the shoulder. Lao Wang raised his leg and kicked, and the crane neck kick. The Winter Soldier flew backwards again, but the high-tech mechanical arm remained in Lao Wang's arms. The Winter Soldier got up and was about to continue the attack. Suddenly, his footsteps froze, as if he heard something. He turned and ran. Lao Wang was about to chase, but suddenly his expression changed, and his eyebrows raised. High explosive grenades were thrown in. They were about to explode. Is Hydra crazy? Lao Wang hurriedly stopped and turned to run. This corridor is about to collapse. The building above is about to collapse. This area is about to collapse. If he doesn't run, he will be buried alive. Although Lao Wang is confident that he will not die, this feeling is not good after all. And, thinking of the Black Widow half kneeling in the corridor behind him, Lao Wang sighed. There is still a burden. The grenade exploded. A ball of true energy wrapped around his body to resist the damage. Lao Wang rolled on the ground, turned a corner in the middle, and quickly came to Natasha and reached out to grab her. Then he threw her on his shoulder. He ran with her on his shoulder. Natasha felt so painful. Her waist and back hurt, her chest hurt, and her lower abdomen hurt even more, as if she had hit something hard. He reached out and grabbed her, and understood. It turned out to be the mechanical arm of the Winter Soldier. The position was so awkward. Of course, Black Widow would not blush, and her heartbeat would not accelerate. This was not important. What was important was that she survived. Was this considered being rescued or being captured? This guy, whose age and appearance were not clearly visible due to his masked face, seemed to be using a mysterious power from the east, something called Ki. Natasha remembered a mission in which she fought with a member of the Hand. The other party also used Ki, but it was very weak, and was not her opponent at all. Compared with that person, the guy under the body was too strong, and was not in the same league at all. Who is this person? Just thinking about it, Lao Wang stopped. He put Natasha down with a slight force on his shoulders, and raised his eyebrows. You can go. Remember, you owe me a favor. As soon as the voice fell, a gust of wind blew, and Lao Wang disappeared. Natasha was stunned. Are you leaving now? You won't catch me. You won't imprison me. You won't torture me. You won't interrogate me. You won't use all kinds of inhuman means to deal with me. This is not in accordance with the procedure. I was trying to get information from you. What's your name? Natasha suddenly shouted. She regretted it as soon as she shouted it. How could she tell it? This is not an idle drama. Then she heard an erratic voice coming over. Kunlun Iron Fist, greetings to you. Thanks to I'm nothing for the 500 reward. Chapter 35 Energy Interference with Matter. Lao Wang did not stop. In less than 2 minutes, he returned to the deepest part of the power plant. Wang, how is the situation? Let me see if you are injured. Sky rushed over and touched Lao Wang. The position was wrong, and it was a little itchy. Before Lao Wang could refuse, she said looked up at Lao Wang with a somewhat unfriendly look. You have a feminine smell, very strong. She also pinched her curly golden hair. Sky, you are born in the year of the dog. The Shockwave girl has this ability. Lao Wang spread his hands and explained helplessly. I just saved Black Widow's life. Well, some physical contact is not what you think. You know, I can't be so fast. It's been less than 5 minutes. I'm fine. How are you now? Sky ignored Lao Wang's last sentence and rolled his eyes. I don't know. How could I know? In addition, such a cheap topic change. Wang, you are too bad. Hydra has retreated, and the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. are cleaning up the battlefield. Both sides are in a terrible state, and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s losses are greater than Hydra's. Sky said, the surveillance cameras are almost destroyed, so I'm not very clear about the specific situation. Wang, what's in your hand? A mechanical arm. It's the Winter Soldiers. We'll talk about it later. Old Wang glanced around. Where's Robbie? A few Hydra people dug a hole in from the other side. Robbie said those people had committed crimes, so they went for revenge. Sky answered. Old Wang nodded. Hydra has people in S.H.I.E.L.D. So Hydra knows all the movements of S.H.I.E.L.D. If I hadn't taken action this time, most of the people sent here by S.H.I.E.L.D. would have been killed by Hydra. Natasha would definitely not have escaped, and Coulson would probably have died. So I'm the benefactor of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a pity that I'm too noble. I do good things without asking for anything in return. Not only do I not leave my name, but I also leave the names of others. I don't know how many years it will take for the weakest Iron Fist in history to return to New York from Kunlun and embarrass Kunlun. It is said that the strongest Iron Fist Wu Fengji many years ago defeated part of the Phoenix Force, which was awesome. Compared with her, this one is simply weak and has fallen to the level of a street hero. The immortal power of Shenlong Xiaolao can only be infused into one fist, and he is often bullied by ordinary people. Even worse than the underage Panda Lily. Pitiful. I might as well go to Kunlun and take away the power of Shenlong Xiaolao, and I will be the Iron Fist. Lao Wang secretly calculated. Although it was a sudden inspiration at the time, he also thought about it for several seconds in his mind, and there was a reason. Maybe it can have miraculous effect. Of course, that is a matter for the future. Now we still have to solve the problem of Lucy and the 4 little ghosts as soon as possible. The Winter Soldier was severely injured, and Hydra must retreat. Luden has a good brain, and SHIELD is still very powerful on the surface, and follow-up support will arrive soon. Natasha was seriously injured, but Coulson should lead people to track down the Winter Soldier, and then be ambushed by the Hydra people. That guy is lucky, and will not die. In addition, Natasha will tell Coulson and Ludin about the situation. In fact, it goes without saying that the macro camera and communicator on her body have been turned on all the time. Coulson and Ludin know everything that happened here. They should not trespass. After all, this Kunlun Iron Fist and Ghost Rider are not something they can deal with. They can't just send bombers to bomb the ground, right? It's not easy to explain to the public. It's not like the New York War and Avengers 1. It's not easy to let the aliens take the blame. In addition, saving Natasha is equivalent to releasing goodwill. Ludan is not a fool who has been brainwashed by his family, country and the world. He will definitely not provoke an uncontrollable kung fu master like himself. Even if there is a conspiracy, it will not be implemented so quickly. There is not much time, but it is enough. The dull sound of footsteps sounded. Robbie came over with a chain. There was no blood on his body, not even the smell of blood, all burned clean by the fire of hell. Ghost Rider is awesome. He destroyed the corpse without leaving any trace. There was no hair or blood at the scene. DNA test was useless. All solved. Lao Wang took a look and found that the spirit of vengeance was stronger than before. This guy lives on the desire for revenge. Ghost Rider's revenge for himself is revenge, and revenge for other victims is also revenge. Simply put, as long as someone makes a mistake, there will be a victim. So as long as the offender is killed, the spirit of vengeance will gain strength and become stronger. When it is strong enough, it can compete with Doctor Strange. I hope Robbie can control it. Otherwise, I can only be rude. Solved. Robbie replied. Then he walked behind Ellie, not knowing what he was thinking. In the body, the spirit of vengeance was ready to move, but in the end he didn't dare to mess around. Because he saw Lao Wang took out the magic crystal bottle that even he was a little jealous of, and took a sip. The energy in his body was rising. Not only was it full of what he had consumed before, but there was also a tendency to overflow. The physique is stronger. The strength is stronger. It seems that I still can't beat him now. Half an hour later. Done. When the last wire was connected, Ellie shouted, with an unprecedented ecstasy on his face. Lao Wang looked at Lucy calmly. Check it out. Lucy hurriedly did it. A few minutes later, she nodded, unable to suppress her excitement. Yes, absolutely. I can finally be a human again. So great. I have been waiting for this day for almost a month. Lao Wang smiled. Then let's start. The four little ghosts floated into a room-sized quantum generator. Start. The entire power plant is fully supplied with electricity. Lao Wang raised his eyebrows. He sensed the enriched energy, which was actually related to the shadow. That's right. The quantum generator is opening another dimension, which is a dark dimension called hell. The power there is dark power, which is essentially no different from the shadow, that is, void energy. All hells belong to the dark category, including Dormammu's hometown. The so-called dimension is actually a state. It has been transformed into the energy form of hell creatures, but has not been able to enter hell. It's like a ghost stranded in the human world. And now, the quantum generator is changing this form. This is the transformation of energy into matter. Some spells can easily do this, such as the transmutation system, but few people have succeeded in science so far. Captain America is one of them. It is not that you can become Captain America just because you have the super soldier serum. The serum must be absorbed with the help of special equipment, and it also requires a huge power supply. In order to help Captain America absorb it, a large area of the power outage was directly caused. The final result was also shocking. The skinny Captain America became taller and stronger, and even gained a lot of weight. This is the transformation of energy into matter. And now, Lucy and the other four have transformed from almost weightless ghosts to flesh and blood humans, requiring even more electricity. Fortunately, the power plant has enough supply. This is a very short process. Before Lao Wang finished his thoughts, Lucy and the other four appeared in the quantum generator in human form. Even the clothes they wore before they died were still there. Lao Wang was a little disappointed. It's really boring. Chapter 36. You don't seem happy. Great moment. This is the moment to witness a miracle. Ellie could hardly hide his excitement. He raised his hands high, looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle, let the spotlight shine on him, and enjoyed the glory of being the center of attention. Although there were only 7 spectators, he gained great inner satisfaction. His body and mind were extremely fulfilled. His life value and social value were realized. His worldview was re-perfected, and he had the illusion that the world is only under my feet, the universe is only in my eyes, and I have become a god. Only God can create humans, which is a forbidden area for humans. And now, he has done it, creating 4 humans out of thin air. What dark dimension? What hell? What gap between dimensions? It doesn't matter. Even if it is stealing energy from another space, so what? Then I'm the only one who can do it. I'm God. Ellie fell into an infinite fantasy. Then the next moment, a cold snort pulled him back to reality. Lucy and the other 4 looked at him with some unkindness, which made his back cold. 1v4. Obviously can't beat. I help you to become a human again, but you want me to be a ghost. Ellie quickly broke away from the noble posture of a god. His hands dropped to the seams of his pants. His attitude was correct, and he smiled apologetically. Thank God, I have the opportunity to atone for my sins, and finally pulled you back from the gates of hell. This is God's gift and your blessing. Robbie looked at Lucy and the other 3 with a somewhat unfriendly look. My uncle is my uncle. He hurt you and saved you, so it can be considered as a compensation. Although the damage to me and my brother has not been settled, I have to settle it. You get out of my way. The breath of hell is still on you. Be careful that I will transform into a ghost rider and send you to hell. Lao Wang glanced at Robbie, of course, mainly at the spirit of revenge in Robbie's body, and his eyes were quite unfriendly. They are my people. Even if they need to be destroyed, I have to destroy them. Who do you think you are? Get out of my way. Wang, something's going on. Sky had no interest in dealing with this group of guys. He kept looking down at his phone. Suddenly, he stared at Lao Wang and said, I hacked into the road traffic monitoring system. Carlson led his men to track down the Winter Soldier, but was ambushed. At the critical moment, a Quinjet appeared, and more than 20 SHIELD agents supported Carlson. Hydra was completely wiped out except for the Winter Soldier. SHIELD is rushing back. As expected, they were ambushed. The Quinjet is a good thing. One day, I'll find a chance to cheat Ludan and a few pilots. Ludan really let Carlson and his group come to find me. This is to destroy me. The desire to find the book is not dead. Lao Wang smiled and leaned over. What's the specific situation? Let me see. Sky raised his phone. There were some intermittent short videos on it. It looked like a candid shot. No matter how you looked at it, it was not very clear. The Winter Soldier blended into the crowd and escaped. Even if his arm was broken, no one could stop him. He could jump off a building several dozen meters high. His Parker level was maximum doubt, and he completely ignored the terrain. He turned Los Angeles into a prairie. SHIELD suffered heavy casualties, and the field staff deployed in Los Angeles were estimated to have suffered almost all losses. Hydra was even worse, and they went to meet Satan one after another. One of the SHIELD agents looked familiar. She was a woman in her 40s, with an oriental face, not very tall, and a bad expression. She was very good at fighting, and her moves were clean and neat. She obviously cared about Carlson, and rushed to Carlson as soon as she got off the plane. Anyone who stands in my way will die. Women are more terrifying than men when they fight desperately. They are more skilled with pistols and tactical daggers than the other. Punches, whip kicks, headbutts. As fierce as they can be, they obviously have received professional and strict combat training. She killed 7 fully armed Hydra soldiers by herself, and she didn't even frown after being shot in the left arm. It's amazing. Melinda May, a level 7 agent of SHIELD. She should only be level 5 or 6 now. In the recent Bahrain Island incident, she killed a little inhuman girl who could control other people and saved many hostages. She is the famous Iron Knight. Lao Wang shook his head. Melinda May is quite strong. Although she cannot be compared with Black Widow, she should be stronger than Ward. She is a living legend of SHIELD. Almost all agents know her and have heard her legend, which is becoming more and more outrageous. Some people say that she killed more than a dozen enemies with her bare hands. Some say more than 20 agents. Some say more than 100 armed gangsters. In fact, it is pure nonsense. It is almost the same if it is Black Widow. She is strong, but her psychological quality is not good. She has a shadow in her heart after killing a little girl, and how big the shadow area is, even her husband can't help, and she actually gave up the field work and switched to civilian work. Unlike Black Widow, she is soft as a willow and hard as iron. She doesn't care about life and death, and she will fight if she doesn't obey. Of course, the Iron Knight wouldn't be like this. It's very likely that he was affected by the supernatural power of that alien. Seriously speaking, so many people were controlled by the little girl, but she was not. In fact, it's amazing. Now he has overcome his psychological barriers and come to support Coulson. Is the relationship between these two really just colleagues and friends? No matter whether others believe it or not, Lao Wang himself doesn't believe it. It seems that May is divorced. Coulson really doesn't seem to be married. Both of them are old, and they are in their prime. Coulson is an open-minded American, and May also grew up in the United States, half American. They are also good friends who have often cooperated many years ago, occasionally crossing the threshold of friendship in the lonely and cold night or day, getting close to each other, warming each other, reaching the other side of joy, and feeling ecstatic, is understandable. Lao Wang shook his head, shook off these messy associations, and then waved, asking everyone to gather around. Shield is coming, and we should go too. What are your plans next? Lucy and the three friends looked at each other. Haha, you really let us plan our own plans? We know your identity and your secret, and we can leave safely and freely? You are kidding. After waiting for 5 seconds, seeing that no one spoke, Lao Wang sighed. Forget it, I will be responsible for you to the end. You will definitely not be able to stay in Los Angeles, you have to find a new place. What do you think of Puerto Rico? Puerto Rico? Lucy was stunned. Boss, why did you think of Puerto Rico? Although Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States, it is actually an autonomous state, which is different from the 50 states on the national flag. Although Puerto Rican citizens enjoy the status of American citizens, they do not receive full treatment as American citizens. Why go there to fight? The key is that Puerto Rico is a bit far away. It is not on the North American continent, but on the island chain between North America and South America, located in the Eastern Caribbean Sea. Well, it is said that there are more pirates. In addition, that place used to be supported by various preferential policies of the United States, and it was treated as a lover. Now the policy is gone, and it has changed from a lover to an illegitimate child, raised by a whore. There is no money to be made there. I naturally have my own arrangements. Lao Wang glanced at these people. You don't seem to be happy. It doesn't matter. I don't like to force others, nor do I like to threaten others. You can leave now. By the way, the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. should be here soon. Don't think too well of them, and don't think too much of you. The little knowledge you have may not be as valuable as your body. At the end, Lao Wang sighed. In addition, everyone who does business knows that a thing is not worth much when sold as a whole, and it is expensive when sold separately, such as organs, such as slices. Chapter 37, Jaina's Mass Teleport. Sky rolled his eyes. Slice, Wang, you want to eat the lamb slices from the Chinatown hot pot restaurant again? Robbie snorted, and the spirit of revenge muttered in his mind. This guy is a bit bad. Boss, you are just threatening. Okay. Lucy quickly expressed her position. I'll go. Vincent, Frederick, and Hugo looked at each other and said in unison, I'll go. Ellie originally wanted to ask if he could go to a different place with Lucy and the others so that he wouldn't have a hard time, but when he saw Lao Wang's smiling face next to him, he understood everything. I'll go. But how do we leave? Sky raised his hand to ask. How do we leave the power plant? How do we get to Puerto Rico thousands of kilometers away? The $1,000 in your bank card is obviously not enough, and mine is not enough either. As for these people, they don't even have bank cards. You can't just buy a piece of wood to go rafting. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the moment to witness a miracle. Lao Wang used Sky's phone to call up the map of Puerto Rico and obtain the coordinates. A wisp of spirit entered the Heart of Azeroth, looked at the young lady, and asked with a smile, I want to exchange for teleportation, the kind that can teleport all of us thousands of kilometers away. Men are really not good things. They only think of me when they need me. The young lady snorted and said coldly, Jaina's mass teleportation during the Battle of Mount Hijal. Thank you for 0.11 grams of my blood. Outside the power plant. In the sky. In the invisible Quinjet, Melinda is bandaging Carlson's wound. The technique is skillful, but the force is a little too strong. I don't know if it's intentional or deliberate. Mary, it's great to have you. Carlson injured the pain and tried to make himself look like he was smiling. It seems that you have come out of the shadows and we can fight side by side again. After the Bahrain Island incident, we don't mention that. Melinda frowned, obviously a little irritated, and was a little sensitive to that noun. Carlson, how many times have I saved you? The 6th time. Carlson's face showed a nostalgic look. That year I was still a level 4 agent. You were a level 3 agent. We were on a mission together. We were both very young at that time. I thought you would abandon me to complete the mission, but you still came back. Hiss, it hurts. Then don't talk nonsense. Melinda's face was cold, but her eyes were somewhat gentle and guilty. If I hadn't applied for a civilian position, I would definitely participate in this operation, and Carlson probably wouldn't be so miserable. 2 minutes later, the bandage was completed. The plane landed on the open space of the power plant, still maintaining its invisible state. The operation begins. Carlson stood up and gave a speech to everyone. There are 3 goals for this operation. First, rescue the trapped agent Natasha Romanoff. Second, control the power plant and collect all useful items and intelligence. Third, get in touch with the people inside. No firing without my order. Okay, let's go. The others filed out. They quickly dispersed. 5 people in a team turned on the detectors, kept searching, moved the bodies to the open space outside, and searched them. Carlson took Melinda and several other people and went directly into the power plant along a certain road. After turning around, breaking through several doors, and blowing up several walls, they finally found Black Widow sitting against the wall. You are finally here. Natasha barely raised her head and couldn't stand up at all. Agent Romanoff, you are seriously injured and need immediate treatment. Carlson saw that Natasha was covered with bullet holes and realized that the situation was not good. With this injury, she was shot several times. It has been delayed for such a long time. Only this person with a strong physique is still alive. If it were someone else, such as myself, I'm afraid I would have died long ago. You have lost too much blood. Mary, take someone to send Agent Romanov out immediately and drive the Quinjet to take her to the hospital directly. Don't refuse. This is an order. You are the best pilot I know. Carlson ordered very seriously, then bent down to check Natasha's injuries. The next second, he was stunned. This is not right. She was shot so many times, but she didn't die. How come she didn't bleed much, and her face is not pale at all, but rosy? Agent Romanov, I remember that you never carry hemostatics or anything like that. It's useless to carry it. Hemostatics are not blood replenishing drugs in online games. At most, they will stop bleeding, but it is impossible to make your face rosy. It's not an aphrodisiac. And with this tight uniform, from head to toe, there was no place to put it. He saved me. Natasha felt the strange power that was still flowing through her body and repairing her wounds, and the masked fighting master appeared in her mind. No, the Grandmaster. It was when he was carrying her that he sent a stream of ki to protect her internal organs, blocked her wounds, and continued to repair them. That's why she stopped bleeding. That's why she didn't feel cold, but warm all over, itchy and comfortable. That man is pretty good. Just a little older. I've never heard of someone who can practice kung fu to that level. He must be at least 40 or 50 years old, right? Or 70 or 80 years old? He has such good physical strength, such fast speed, and such great strength. Is it all the effect of ki? How amazing. Carlson's hand froze in front of Natasha. Romanov's tone and address are a bit wrong. Him? Who is he? The guy who calls himself Kunlun Iron Fist? Of course, this is not the time to ask questions, and it seems that they are not obliged to explain these. Agent Romanov is a true legend of SHIELD, and only obeys the orders of the director. Leave one person to take care of Agent Romanov, and the others follow me. Carlson walked inside with Melinda. As he walked, he kept shouting, "Attention! People inside. I'm Agent Phil Carlson of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency. I'm here to see you on behalf of Director Nick Fury. I have no ill intentions. Please do not attack. I repeat, please do not attack. No one answered. Carlson hesitated for a few seconds and made a gesture. Be careful and continue to approach. The support of the Quinjet brought the new ice freezing gun and stun gun of the Ministry of Science and Technology, which are more powerful but not lethal. In addition, there are various types of tear gas, fog bombs, and flash bombs. It should be enough to deal with the guys inside, right? Less than 200 meters. It took 5 minutes to walk. Finally, we reached the deepest point. Carlson was stunned. Hey, where are the people? Where is the Ghost Rider? Where is Ellie? Where is Kunlun Iron Fist? Also, what's going on here? He looked around, not knowing what to say, with a confused look on his face. Not only are people gone, but many things that should have been intact have been dismantled. There are traces of dragging and scratching everywhere on the ground. When I was outside before, I had scanned it, and there should be a lot of things here, but they are all gone. Only a few wires were lying alone on the ground. Carlson continued to look into the distance and was stunned again. The traces of dragging and scratching were gone. Did someone carry those things away? But the door is so small, he can't get out. So, what exactly happened here? Carlson was completely confused. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 38 Pain and Happiness. Please recommend Azeroth. A certain unimportant timeline. Mount Higel. Looking at the Lich Riki Winder who had turned into a pile of bones in the valley ahead, and the Dreadlord Anetheron who finally died in the siege of thousands of elite soldiers, Jaina finally breathed a sigh of relief. Warriors of the Alliance, the attack of the Burning Legion is getting more and more terrible. We can't hold on here and must retreat. Now we must give up hatred and support Thrall and the new tribe he leads. Brave adventurers, thank you for your help. I'm sorry, my mana and spirit are seriously depleted, and I can't take all of you to the tribe camp. The Night Elf Sentinels will take you to move forward, and we will go ahead. With the help of humans and high elf mages, Jaina began to cast spells. After dozens of seconds, a super large group teleportation was finally completed. Jaina breathed a sigh of relief. It is indeed difficult for her to complete this level of spells without being promoted to legend, but it is necessary. Mount Higel is very large. It is dozens of kilometers from the Alliance camp to the Horde camp. Direct teleportation not only saves time, but also saves physical strength, allowing the exhausted soldiers to get enough rest, the wounded to get treatment, and everyone to recover enough physical strength. As for those greedy adventurers, the rewards they should have been given, and they are not owed. If it really comes to a critical moment, they will definitely run away. Unlike the warriors of the Alliance, they must fight to the death. Warriors of the Alliance, follow me, let's go to the Horde camp. Jaina raised her staff. A blue light fell on one Alliance soldier after another. Everyone was shrouded, and the adventurers were envious. Let's go. Jaina activated the mass teleportation. The mood of all the Alliance soldiers became relaxed. Then, the light flashed. Everyone was still in the same place, but the mass teleportation disappeared. Jaina looked at her staff, then looked at the confused Alliance soldiers, and finally looked at the adventurers who were busy fighting for the Chronicle of Dark Secrets and Unbeatable Will, and wanted to cry. Father, Teacher, Arthas, Keelthus, Thrall. Can anyone tell me where such a large group teleportation spell went? She was so tired that she could no longer complete the second group teleportation spell. Jaina had to try a small teleportation spell. However, it failed twice in a row. No, the spell was successful, but the teleportation spell disappeared. Jaina was tired and didn't want to waste mana anymore, so she led everyone to retreat on foot. The tired and injured Alliance soldiers could never outrun the countless Burning Legion demons who were almost never tired. 3 hours later, the Alliance was wiped out and Jaina died. 1 day later, the Horde was wiped out and Thrall died. 3 days later, the Night Elves were wiped out, and Malfurion and Tyrion died. The mighty Archimond finally appeared and climbed up the world tree, greedily absorbing energy. He became bigger and bigger. Finally, he sucked away all the energy of the world tree in the second well of eternity. 1 year later, under the burning sky, the whole world turned to ashes. New York Temple. Since receiving the order from the Supreme Mage Ancient One conveyed by Baron Mordo, the Temple Guardian Daniel Drum has been using the power of the temple itself to monitor the entire North America. Suddenly, the calm black face moved, and the thick lips opened, revealing the white black teeth. Finally detected. Combined with the monitoring of the Supreme Mage, it can be basically confirmed. The unknown mages in the west or south of North America, the United States, a certain state, a certain region, a secret base of Hydra in an unknown place, Whitehall's exclusive laboratory. Joseph lay on a special test bench, enjoying the special treatment of a group of whitecoats. He wore a strange shaped helmet on his head, which was a bit like the virtual helmet that countless players had been looking forward to for many years, if you don't consider the various inhumane tools inside. The fine probe pierced his head, and the milky white potion that enhanced the nerve senses was injected into Ella's body. 9cc. The weak current brought strong stimulation, similar to the electric chair that some people in some countries will never enjoy in their lifetime. Of course, it was not that strong, but it brought unprecedented pleasure, as proved by a stubborn bulge. The shadowless lamp similar to that in the operating room illuminated every wrinkle on his face. Joseph seemed to have spent 100 years in a dream. Sometimes he struggled in pain, his veins were exposed, his face was hideous, and he was covered in cold sweat. Sometimes he moaned with pleasure, his old face flushed, his body twisted, and his movements were so shameful. Several data cables were connected to different medical instruments, including an expensive supercomputer. The fluctuating spectrum detected his vital signs and brain activity. 10 minutes passed. Joseph suddenly opened his eyes. Ah! He screamed in pain, and then as the pain subsided, his eyes began to focus. Seeing everything in front of him, Joseph was confused. Where am I? Shouldn't I be tied to the table and whipped by Ellie? That place is good. Why did you change the place? What are you going to do to me? No. Very good. Whitehall walked to the side of the test bench, playing with a slender and sharp scalpel in his hand, gestured on Joseph's face a few times, carefully adjusted the position, and showed a gentle smile at the corner of his mouth. I ask, you answer. The first question, where is the dark book? Dark book? What are you talking about? I don't know. You should go to the library to find it. There was a trace of evasion and panic in Joseph's eyes. Who is this person? How does he know the dark book? Does he know Ellie? He is Ellie's man, or Ellie is his man. Ellie couldn't pry open my mouth, so he sent it here, to this person's hands. Haha. I'm not afraid of ropes, whips, and candles, so why am I afraid of a scalpel? No one can take away my dark book. Hey, why does my face hurt so much? No, it hurts a lot. The pain was enhanced 100 times, allowing Joseph to enjoy the pain of a woman giving birth. This feeling. So cool. Whitehall smiled gently, moved his fingers skillfully, and the scalpel left a deep and long scar on Joseph's face. The left half of the face. From the corner of the eye to the corner of the mouth. Very beautiful. He picked up the scalpel, watched a drop of blood slowly fall from the tip of the knife, heard Joseph scream, saw the growing fear in his eyes, and the joy hidden in the fear. His voice was as gentle as his smile. Wrong answer. Cut it. Joseph's fists were clenched white, and suddenly he felt extremely happy and refreshed. Liquid containing some kind of fertilizer spurted from his lower body, and the pungent smell filled the air, moistening the entire summer. Whitehall continued to smile, and the scalpel left a residual image. An almost identical scar appeared on Joseph's right face, corresponding to the left. Neat and beautiful. This kind of beauty has nothing to do with art. It is a kind of mathematical beauty, the beauty in the heart of a science and engineering man. Pollution of the air. Cut 1. Whitehall's smile grew wider and wider. Don't worry, I have dissected many bodies, and in the past few years I have also studied the ancient Chinese Lin Chi. I guarantee that one cut will be fast and accurate, as thin as a slice of mutton. 360 cuts may not be possible, but within 120 cuts, you will definitely not die, even if you want to die. Joseph swallowed his saliva. He felt as if he was wrapped in boundless fear. He was not afraid of being hurt. Many people did not understand the truth of pain and happiness, but he enjoyed it. But if he was cut into hundreds of pieces, it would obviously not be so beautiful. How could there be such a terrible person in the world? At this moment, Joseph's fear of this person overcame the temptation of the dark book. I say everything. If it is updated to chapters a day. Thanks to World of Warcraft's Lizan for the 1000 rewards. Thanks to Zio882 for the 100 rewards. Thanks to Yumo Faranzexu for the 100 rewards. I wish you all a happy new year. Chapter 39 San Juan, Puerto Rico. The capital, San Juan. This is a coastal city with an endless sea to the north. The whole city is bathed in the salty and humid sea breeze, which cools down the summer. In the wilderness near the city, a group of sheep are grazing carefree. Some are fat, some are thin, some are fast, some are slow, some are lazy, some are beautiful, and some look very festive. Suddenly, azure lines appeared in the air, outlining one complex teleportation array after another. A cable hangs down from the teleportation array, like the legendary fairy rope. Boom. With a loud bang, a square quantum battery box fell from the sky. The sheep were confused. What's going on? Sheep running on the ground, and the box comes from the sky? Before the sheep can come back to their senses, a huge alloy room falls to the ground. More things fall down. There are wires, data cables, and some strange things that move when powered on. Finally, a few people fall down. A little sheep blinked. I've heard of rain from the sky, but I've never heard of people falling from the sky. There were quite a few in a row. Bang, bang. Ellie fell at the bottom, with the skinny Frederick and Hugo on top, followed by the fat Vincent, and finally the plump Lucy. The continuous scream scared the sheep. It wasn't Ellie, it was Frederick and Hugo. Ellie was knocked unconscious. Vincent moved his butt and felt as if something was pressing on it, soft, warm, and comfortable, and he didn't want to get up. Robbie bent his waist and knees slightly, and fell to the grass. He was tied with the iconic chains, and the binding method was very sophisticated and professional. Lao Wang appeared on the other side and landed gracefully. He reached out and scooped Sky into his arms, sighing. This landing point seems to be wrong. Well, errors are always inevitable. It's just that in the infinite timeline of Azeroth, I chose the most suitable one. It's not like summoning Jaina or Medivh to cast a spell on the spot, so I can't expect too much. The luck is not bad. If he teleported to a height of several thousand meters in the air, or to a depth of several thousand meters in the sea or underground, that would be miserable. As for directly summoning Jaina or Medivh for help, let's not talk about Medivh, because with Lao Wang's health, there is no hope at all. As for Jaina, the white-haired witch version is not enough. At that time of the Battle of Mount Higil, he could barely summon, but the key is that it consumes a lot of blood every second. Lao Wang doesn't want to be a 5-second fast boy, that would be unpleasant, and mass teleportation is difficult. It takes a long time to cast the spell, and it can't be completed at all. Lao Wang looked up, and looked into the distance. The sea and the sky are connected. The setting sun and the lonely wild geese fly together, and the autumn water and the sky are the same color. It is really beautiful. The city of San Juan is just 10 miles away, not far away. This is an old city, built in 1508, with a population of more than 600,000. It is obviously nothing in the Great Footy Empire, not even as good as a small county town, but on a small island, like Puerto Rico, that is not particularly large, it is already very good. San Juan is actually a port city. There are a lot of import and export trade every year. The people's living standards are not low, and it is not crowded. Such a city is actually quite suitable for retirement. However, Lao Wang knows very well that he may not have the blessing of retirement in this life. At the beginning, he finally defeated Agrama and Argus the Unmaker, and thought about returning to his hometown on the Wandering Isle, and moving a small stool to watch the sunrise and sunset at the door. As a result, he failed to realize it, so he rushed to travel again. The protagonist is the protagonist. How can there be a leisure time? Wang, what are we doing here? Sky turned over and escaped from Lao Wang's arms. Looking at the exotic scenery in the distance, he was a little intoxicated. For a moment, he was stunned, thinking that it would be nice to accompany Lao Wang to see the scenery for a lifetime. But his father and mother have not been found yet. Find a place to reinstall these things and continue their experiments. Looking at these things in front of him, Lao Wang was very relieved. Jaina's group teleportation is very powerful. It is not a problem to teleport a small army at one time. It can't be wasted. So at that time, Lao Wang decided that these expensive materials must be taken away. Robbie and his team were busy for several minutes before they gathered all the good things they could find and dismantle. With a flash of magic, all the things were teleported here. As for how to transport them away, money can solve the problem. The problem is that there is no money. Touching the bank card in his arms, Lao Wang turned his head and looked at Robbie. Lucy and the other 4 had just been resurrected, so they definitely had no money. Moreover, they were already dead. If they suddenly went to the bank to report the loss or reissue the card, they would probably be invited to the police station for coffee, and they might even attract SHIELD or Hydra. Ellie had just been released from prison, and it was not a normal release. He also had no money and could not go to the bank. Sky's belongings were all in the car, which was in the repair shop. After all the calculations, Robbie was the richest among all the people. In fact, there was still $1,000 in the bank card, which was enough. The key was that Lao Wang had to plan for his future life, be frugal, and save money. Okay, I have to pay it back. Robbie sighed and prepared to call to rent a car. Don't worry, I won't give you back the money, not even a penny. Lao Wang patted Robbie on the shoulder, looked at Robbie's angry head, and said with a smile, but I can help you heal your brother's broken leg, just like when it was not broken, or even better than before. How about this deal? Robbie was about to transform into Ghost Rider and have a good argument with Lao Wang. Suddenly he heard the second half of Lao Wang's sentence. He was stunned for a moment. His brother was still in the hospital. Both legs were broken in that car accident. He didn't have the money to send his brother to the best hospital and invite the best doctor. Even if he had money, it would be useless. Modern medicine can't cure it at all. His brother was very strong and comforted him that it was okay. But he saw his brother secretly crying in the middle of the night. No one doesn't care about his legs. Robbie was desperate, but now he saw hope. Compared with his brother's legs, what is a little money? He quickly called to rent a car. 2 hours later, a van with everyone and all their belongings came to the old town of St. Juan and stopped near the Northern Sentry Tower. Afterwards, Robbie rented a relatively cheap large warehouse and generously paid 1 year's rent. All the things were moved in and reassembled. Of course, this would take time, and Lao Wang could not always be here with him. St. Juan City had what he needed, or to be more precise, what Sky needed, which was the real reason why he chose St. Juan. But not now, because there were more important things that he had not yet obtained. As for now, after being away for so long, it was time to go back. More importantly, Robbie could not wait any longer. Reluctantly, he handed the bank card and password to Lucy. As living funds for this period of time, Lao Wang spent 0.02 grams of Azeroth's blood to exchange for 2 ordinary teleportations from some unlucky guy. A flash of magic flashed. The 2 returned to Los Angeles. Chapter 40. Are we still allowed to eat? Please recommend. The teleportation location chosen by Lao Wang was a parking lot near the Roxanne power plant, where Robbie's Dodge Charger was parked nearby. Robbie drove, took Lao Wang and Sky, and soon arrived at the 5th Street Hospital not far from the repair shop. Then he met Robbie's younger brother Gabe. This is a cheerful high school boy, a little thin, half lying on the hospital bed, reading a book. He was not in a very good spirit, and yawned from time to time. It was already late at night. It stands to reason that patients should rest more, but Gabe had been forcing himself not to sleep, waiting for his brother. Seeing Robbie coming, Gabe immediately laughed. Robbie, Dr. Cumberbatch said that I'm in good condition and can be discharged from the hospital after a few more days of observation. Fortunately, I have been studying on my own and my homework has not been delayed. What do you think of me taking the Stanford or Berkeley exams? They are your friends? Seeing Lao Wang and Sky, Robbie took the initiative to say hello. Hi, Gabe. Sky walked over with a bag and smiled at Gabe. I'm Robbie's high school classmate, Sky, and he's Wang, my friend. Robbie said you like to eat durian, jackfruit and canned herring, but it's a pity that you can't eat them here, otherwise everyone in the hospital won't be able to sleep. You have to bear it first. Sky obviously has a good impression of Gabe, who is also an orphan. Thank you. Gabe thanked him politely, then looked at Robbie and blinked. The meaning was very clear. How come I didn't know you had such a beautiful high school female classmate? What's your relationship with your steely straight man character? I thought you would never find a girlfriend in your life. It's not what you think, Gabe. Robbie glanced at Lao Wang. Seeing that Lao Wang was very calm and didn't mean to beat him, he breathed a sigh of relief and leaned close to Gabe's ear and whispered, "No need to observe. We will be discharged today. This Mr. Wang is a kung fu master from China. He can cure you." A master from China? Just like those guys pretending to be ghosts in Chinatown in Los Angeles, using the so-called internal force and true energy to deceive people. Gabe was a little unhappy for a moment. Robbie, this idiot, couldn't he be deceived? He seems to have been deceived often, since he was a child. By the way, Robbie withdrew money a few hours ago, a lot of money, and his family's assets were almost emptied. Could it be that this Master Wang cheated all of it? Gabe glanced at Lao Wang and suddenly felt that this originally very kind little brother became hateful. By the way, the look in Sky's eyes was not quite right. Are these two friends? Did they collude to deceive Robbie? But there is nothing wrong with being discharged from the hospital early. At least it can save some money. Robbie is not a child anymore, and getting married and having children also requires money. Any savings is a little bit. Okay. Gabe decided to wait and see. Find a chance to have a good talk with Robbie and call the police. If it doesn't work, why did Robbie believe in the so-called master? You are not like this before. You have always believed in science and think that only science can explain the world and only modern medicine can cure my leg. Robbie, you've changed. Dr. Cumberbatch certainly suggested a few more days of observation, but the patient has the final say. That night, while Lao Wang and Sky were away, Gabe held Robbie and talked all night. Robbie, it's okay to have a broken leg. Hawking is even worse off than me. He can become a world famous scientist, so can I. I've planned it all. I'll go to Stanford or Berkeley, and when I go to college, I'll apply for internships at Stark Industries or Hammer Industries. By then, I'll focus on exoskeleton armor technology, and one day I'll be able to stand up on my own. Gabe was very strong, but Robbie was very determined. Don't worry, Gabe, Mr. Wang is not a liar. His abilities are beyond your imagination. I've seen it with my own eyes. Besides, I took the money for a purpose, not to be cheated. Robbie suddenly couldn't continue, because it seemed that the money was really taken away by Lao Wang. He wasn't going to pay it back. So in fact, he really paid someone to treat Gabe's legs, and Gabe was right. Of course, Robbie didn't worry about being cheated. After seeing Lao Wang in action, he knew that Lao Wang was not one of those masters with no skills, but a real master, just like the Kung Fu master in Kung Fu Panda, Po's master. No, he is more powerful than the Kung Fu master, more like the gods in Chinese mythology. Well, a fat god. He doesn't look like Po's master, but he looks like Po. The next morning, several people came to Robbie's house, actually Ella's house, where Robbie and Gabe have lived since they were young. The place is not big, but very warm. Robbie carried Gabe to the bed and lay down, then looked at Lao Wang with pleading eyes. Wang, Gabe's legs. Lao Wang was helpless. You will never find a girlfriend in your life if you work without filling your stomach. Put down the Master Kang and Lao Ganma in your hand, and walk to Gabe. You have to do what you promised to others. Not to mention that Lao Wang had long planned to pull Robbie on the chariot to the purple potato spirit. Gabe is also a good guy. He has always been the best student in school. Otherwise, he would not have the confidence to go to Stanford or Berkeley. There is no need to go to Stark or Hammer for internships. The Dark Book of God Laboratory in Puerto Rico welcomes you. Raise your hand. Put it on Gabe's leg. A wisp of true energy is injected into it to check the situation. Well, the bones are connected, the blood vessels are connected, and the main problem is nerve necrosis. It's not a big problem. Lao Wang guessed. It's not a big problem. At least there is no need to set bones. The medical skills of the old Americans are still good. Lao Wang moved his finger slightly. A light green mist appeared and penetrated into Gabe's body. Resuscitation mist plus soothing mist, reviving injuries and soothing the injured young heart. Done. Lao Wang clapped his hands and stood up. Wang, how is the situation? Robbie thought Lao Wang was checking the condition and asked hurriedly. The treatment is over, and it will be fine soon. Lao Wang took out the eternal water bottle from his trouser pocket, then picked up the water cup on the table and carefully dripped a small drop into it. After thinking for a while, he dripped another drop. Pour some water and drink it. Lao Wang handed it to Robbie. This is a free gift. It's a big loss. It's really a big loss. Although there are only 2 drops, the essence of the eternal well water mixed in it must be at least 0.001 grams. That is 1 milligram, 100 micrograms. It is equivalent to dozens of quantum battery boxes. He had asked Ali before. Quantum batteries are very expensive. The cost of a battery is tens of thousands of US dollars. 100 micrograms of the essence of the eternal well water is worth at least 1 million US dollars, which can buy a house. The resurrection mist plus soothing mist of the Grand Master of the 3 cultivation monk can cure Gabe. These 2 drops of essence wine are really a free gift. Wang, thank you. Robbie hurriedly thanked him. Before, I saw Lao Wang drinking, taking a small sip at a time, and I knew that this thing must be very precious. In addition, the spirit of revenge muttered several times in his mind, saying that Lao Wang drank too much, which was a pure waste. Drinking a drop of wine at a time is enough. How can it be a small sip? Just look at Lao Wang's distressed look. This thing is probably much more expensive than Remy Martin and Maute. It's probably a secret tiger bone medicinal wine, ginseng medicinal wine or something like that. A small bottle of it costs hundreds of dollars. Gabe looked at Lao Wang with suspicion. He didn't believe that this guy who pretended to be a master could cure his leg. I've seen Hong Kong movies. Even if you pretend to be a master, you should pretend to be more convincing, right? Gabe sneered and was about to expose Master Wang's true face and let Robbie see the truth. Suddenly, I felt warm in my legs, warmer than home. So comfortable. Hey, it's itchy again. It's so itchy, I want to scratch it. After a few seconds, it became sour and painful. Different feelings tortured Robbie's nerves. Wait, I can feel it? My leg nerves have recovered? Strange, this is not scientific. Gabe was surprised and happy, excited and scared. Scared that all this was fake, an illusion. He tried to move his legs. He could move. He pinched himself. It hurts. He hurriedly tried to stand up, his legs shaking. He fell, not used to it. He waved his hands, refused Robbie's help, and tried again. He stood up steadily, then took 2 steps, then took several steps. He can really walk. I can run. How is this possible? Gabe turned his head to look at Lao Wang. Is there really such a magical ability and such a magical person in the world? Come, drink it. Lao Wang took the cup filled with water from Robbie and handed it to Gabe. Don't worry, it doesn't cost anything. Gabe glanced at Robbie. Robbie smiled and nodded, his eyes full of encouragement. Gabe no longer hesitated, drank it in one gulp, and almost choked. The powerful arcane energy, along with the vitality that nourishes all things, continued to flow in Robbie's body. He became healthier than 99% of the people in this world. And as time goes by, as the essence of the eternal well water is continuously absorbed, his physique will get better and better. You can participate in the Olympics. Lao Wang smiled, picked up the Master Kong, and tore off the cover paper. Suddenly, his eyebrows raised and sighed. Are you still going to let me eat? 10 seconds later, there was a knock on the door. Chapter 41, The Quack Doctor Who Cures All Diseases. Lao Wang winked. Excited, Gabe quickly lay down on the bed, pretending that his legs were broken. Robbie took a deep breath and tried to adjust his mood to a less happy state, although it was difficult, and then went to open the door. Sky leaned against the wall and played with his phone and made a V sign to Lao Wang, which meant you have done everything you told me before, so you don't have to worry about someone checking. Lao Wang nodded and smiled and gave a thumbs up. He thought that he couldn't eat Master Kang in front of outsiders, and there was also the recently popular Lao Ganma. It was impolite, but what if someone liked it? Should I refuse to give it to him, or should I just buy it? Lao Ganma is very expensive, and Master Kang is not cheap either. If Los Angeles didn't have the oldest Chinatown in the history of the United States, basically all the ones in China could be found, but it might not be possible to buy them. Especially the braised pork noodles with dried bamboo shoots and shredded pork noodles with snow bamboo shoots. Lao Wang loved to eat this with the fresh bamboo flavor, which reminded him of the good times in the Wandering Island Pandaria. The door opened. Two people appeared in front of him. A man and a woman. One is tall, the other is short. One is smiling and passionate, the other is expressionless and cold. The man is fiery and the woman is icy. The man is tall and the woman is short. They complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. It's really a perfect match. Lao Wang took a look and was full of admiration for the professionalism of the shield agent. You are still working, even though you are injured like this? Doesn't it hurt? Of course, on the surface, you look normal, you can't see the injury at all. The shield agent's disguise is very professional. Mr. Robbie Reis. The man was polite and smiled. I'm Agent Phil Carlson of the Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency, and this is Agent Melinda May. We had something to ask you and your brother about your Uncle Ellie. The two showed their IDs. Say it again. Robbie acted a little confused. Although it was not the first time he heard this name, it was too long, and he really couldn't remember it. You're not the first to say that. Well, you can call us SHIELD. Carlson smiled gracefully, looked into the room, and paused for 2 seconds on Lao Wang and Sky respectively. Who are these two? I'm sorry, I'm afraid we can't have outsiders present in our conversation. This is Mr. Wang, and this is Ms. Sky. Robbie didn't introduce them in detail. The more he said, the more mistakes he made. It was better to let the two of them play on their own. Gabe's leg was broken, and Mr. Reis asked me to come and treat him. Miss Sky is my assistant. Well, you guys chat, and we'll go out for a walk. Lao Wang rubbed his stomach, and took this opportunity to go out for dinner. He glanced at Robbie casually. Buddy, keep up your show. Wait. Melinda May, who had been silent all the time, suddenly stared at Lao Wang and asked, Mr. Wang is Chinese? My heart is Chinese, and my nationality is American. I was born in an orphanage in Chinatown, New York. Lao Wang stopped and spoke in Chinese. I'm sorry. Melinda didn't look apologetic at all. Although orphans are pitiful, and her compatriots also make her feel a little familiar with meeting old friends in a foreign land. As a Chinese American who can't speak Chinese fluently, and a shield agent, she is more concerned about Lao Wang's identity. Mr. Wang is a doctor? Orthopedic? Mr. Wang should be no more than 20 years old. A medical school student? A quack doctor, just turned 18. Lao Wang took out a business card from his trouser pocket and handed it to Melinda. If you need anything, come to me. The price is affordable, and I don't cheat anyone. Don't worry, I won't bully women. If you have the guts, you can bully them. Melinda took the business card, took a look, and her face looked a little strange. What's written on it? Carlson leaned over, and his face turned black. It was actually Chinese characters, which he didn't recognize at all. This is America. Even if you are from Chinatown, you won't do business with other people. A secret recipe passed down from generation to generation, specializing in treating injuries, infertility, endocrine disorders, broken arms and legs, back pain, leg pain, body pain, frequent urination, urgent urination, and incomplete urination, and other difficult and complicated diseases. Below is the name, phone number and address. Melinda translated. Carlson. Just say it can cure all diseases. Young people are so arrogant. Melinda thought for a while and asked again, Mr. Wang, I wonder how much you know about Chinese mythology, such as Kunlun. Carlson looked at Melinda in surprise. You suspect he is Kunlun Iron Fist? This is impossible. Agent Romanov said that to practice to the level of Kunlun Iron Fist, you must be at least 40 or 50 years old, and it is possible to be 70 or 80 years old. So you think he might know Kunlun Iron Fist? That's right. Kunlun Iron Fist broke into the prison and took Ellie away. Robbie is Ellie's nephew. This Mr. Wang appeared in Robbie's house. There may be some kind of relationship that I don't know about, such as Mr. Wang is also from Kunlun, or from Kunlun Iron Fist. Kunlun. A mountain. Old Wang shrugged. The orphanage doesn't teach these. I don't know much. You can buy a book of Chinese mythology, or watch the National Geographic channel. Can I leave now? I'm sorry. Thank you for your cooperation. You can leave now. Carlson said with a smile. Old Wang and Sky left. Wang, aren't you worried? After walking about 50 meters, Sky lowered his voice and said, Shield came to the door, and that Melinda obviously suspected you. As expected. If this can't be found, how can the government's annual funding for Shield be higher than that of the CIA and the FBI? Old Wang looked indifferent. Ellie escaped from prison. It is normal for Shield to target Robbie, and investigating us is just a side job. Okay, don't worry about these. Let's go have a meal. Then what? Sky always felt that old Wang was too careless. But he didn't know that he was now skilled and bold. Now that the golden finger has been found, why should he follow his heart like before? Of course you have to have fun. In this world, connections, wealth, and power are certainly important, but the characteristic of the Marvel universe is that strength is more important. Lao Wang has strength. As long as Shield doesn't intend to kill him at all costs, he won't die. What's there to be afraid of? Ludan is cunning and cunning. Carlson is tolerant and kind, and the most important thing for Shield now is to fight with Hydra. In this situation, you won't offend people casually, especially those who are difficult to deal with. Yesterday, Lao Wang let Hydra take the blame, and in fact one of the purposes was this. Only by muddying the water can you fish in troubled waters. Then, watch a movie and get a room. You can't stay at Robbie's house. It's not very convenient. Lao Wang smiled and looked to the east. Then, we should go back to New York. After leaving for so long, those old men and women should miss me, right? They miss your medical skills. Sky also smiled. Half an hour later. Mystery Eyes, thank you for your cooperation. If Ellie contacts you, please contact us as soon as possible. Carlson stood up and said goodbye. I will. Robbie forced a smile and closed the door. Carlson and Melinda walked 50 meters away and got into the red sports car. Carlson started the engine and stepped on the accelerator as he asked, May, what do you think? Robbie and Gabe's expressions don't look right. They must be hiding something from us. Ellie may have contacted them. Melinda frowned and said, there's something very strange. Half a month ago, Robbie and Gabe were attacked by the 5th Street gang. Gabe's leg was broken, but Robbie was fine. This is unlikely. The people who went to the hospital to investigate said that when Robbie took Gabe to the hospital, he didn't even have burns on his body. It's very strange. Carlson nodded. This is a suspicious point. What else? Melinda stared at the business card in her hand. Sky was a little nervous. The expression and movements of Mr. Wang were very natural. Either there is no problem, or he is an Oscar winner. I think we should follow up on the investigation. I'm afraid we don't have time, and I believe what he said is true, but it is definitely not the whole truth, and the investigation won't make much progress. Carlson raised the communicator. The director asked us to report back to headquarters immediately. In addition, the director plans to take action against Hydra. Chapter 42, Kidnapping the Ghost Rider. After almost 2 hours of tossing and turning outside, Lao Wang and Sky finally walked back to Robbie's house. As for what they did during these 2 hours, eating is a must, but watching a movie is impossible. Lao Wang's bank card has been given to Ellie and Lucy, and Sky's family has almost used up all his money in the past few days. Watching a movie costs money, and it is much more expensive than a meal. A big meal is definitely much more expensive than watching a movie, but Lao Wang can't afford it. He usually cooks 2 side dishes and steamed buns by himself, and occasionally goes to the Chinese restaurant downstairs to satisfy his appetite. The 2 buckets of Master Kong and a bottle of Laogan Ma are considered luxury goods. The only thing that makes Lao Wang a little regretful is that he didn't get a room in the end. Of course, lack of money is the main reason. Another reason is that now he has a place to live. Lao Wang helped Gabe heal his leg, and Robbie and Gabe are very grateful. After knowing Lao Wang and Sky's embarrassing situation, they strongly asked Lao Wang to stay at home, and Lao Wang was embarrassed to refuse. There are guest rooms. Although there is only one room, Ella's room is unoccupied. Of course, Robbie didn't point this out deliberately because he wasn't sure whether Lao Wang and Sky needed 2 rooms. Maybe they wanted to keep each other warm in this hot summer and comfort their lonely hearts. It didn't matter. The reason why they had to stay for a day before leaving was because Lao Wang hadn't achieved another purpose for this trip. The first purpose was the Heart of Azeroth, which he had already taken back. The second purpose was the Dark Book. In fact, it was not difficult to find. As a great monk who had been meditating in the Zenstaff forest for a whole year and had a long-term spiritual relationship with Shensin's son, it was not difficult to awaken Joseph from the spiritual level and then use physical methods to pry open Joseph's mouth and get the whereabouts of the Dark Book. Why did he have to go through so much trouble, even offending Shield and Hydra? Was it to get Ellie and Lucy? Yes, they were all talented, but what the world lacked most was talent. What was lacking was genius. Ghost Rider was a genius, a natural good material. In the final analysis, Lao Wang was for Ghost Rider. Such an awesome guy can't be wasted. Hellfire roasted purple potatoes should be more delicious, crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, fragrant, and with a familiar devil smell, which smells very friendly. Even if the purple potato essence is not considered, Lao Wang is also very interested in the Ghost Rider itself. Because in Azeroth, he has seen more than one demon parasitic in the body, and he has also seen a guy who is somewhat similar to the Spirit of Vengeance, the god of vengeance of the Night Elf Watcher and Warden Maiev Shadowsong. In the Silent Night, I had an in-depth exchange with Maiev that went beyond the ordinary meaning, but the conversation had nothing to do with the god of vengeance, and the time was wasted on the goblin fight. After all, although Lao Wang was a strong Pandaren at that time, Maiev was also a night elf who had lived for more than 10,000 years, with a strong physique. The two met a match, and met a good talent. Who would not want to be overwhelmed by the other party? They could only fight happily. Now that he has encountered a spirit of vengeance that is somewhat similar to the god of vengeance, Lao Wang certainly can't miss it. To help Robbie get revenge and Gabe heal his leg, Lao Wang and the brothers are in the honeymoon period of dry firewood and passion. Of course, they have to strike while the iron is hot, cook the rice into a cooked meal, and abduct it into their own chariot. As for how to abduct, actually, it is not difficult. When the junior high school Chinese teacher taught how to write an argumentative essay, he said that the best way to persuade others is to present facts and reason. Lao Wang is a reasonable person. Although in most cases, he does not use his mouth, but his fists. Shield and Hydra are not fools. Since the Ghost Rider has entered their sight, they will definitely investigate, and will definitely find you. Lao Wang sat on the sofa, adjusted the most comfortable posture, and said, Shield under the leadership of Ludan is relatively gentle, and it should not do anything to you. But Hydra will not sit down with you to drink coffee and chat. Whitehall is a pervert who has rejuvenated. He has captured Joseph, and must have pried open Joseph's mouth and knows everything. He will soon come to your door with a gun. So, you are not safe. Next to Lao Wang sat Sky. Opposite him sat Robbie. As for Gabe, Lao Wang injected a stream of true energy to help him fall asleep. Unless Lao Wang allowed him to, he could sleep for at least a day and a night. Actually, this is good. Gabe basically didn't sleep last night and was very sleepy. Although his physical condition is not very good now, physical satisfaction cannot relieve mental fatigue, and it would be better to sleep. Gabe has never known Robbie's true situation. Robbie dared not tell him, nor did he want to tell him. Now hearing Lao Wang's words, Robbie realized that his brother was facing a threat more terrible than a broken leg, the threat of death. He was not afraid, because the Ghost Rider had an immortal body. But Gabe didn't. What should I do? Move. Where can I move to? According to Lao Wang, Hydra can even infiltrate Shield, so it's useless to hide anywhere, and it's impossible for him to stay with Gabe all the time. Thinking of this, Robbie got anxious. If the spirit of vengeance was not a good thing and didn't listen to his control, he would have wanted to give the spirit of vengeance to his brother so as to ensure his brother's safety. By the way, Mr. Wang. Since Mr. Wang mentioned this, there must be a solution. Robbie was shocked and looked at Lao Wang. His eyes began to burn with fervor. Wang, don't look at me with such a fiery look. I will be melted by your hellfire. Lao Wang waved his hand and said, in fact, the best way is to make Gabe stronger. He drank my essence wine, and his physical fitness in all aspects will be improved a lot, but it is not enough. If he can drink 1 or 2 drops every day, and learn kung fu from me, at most 1 month, he can deal with a few agents without any problem. Maybe he can't even be killed by a pistol. He can also protect himself. Sky and Robbie were both stunned. So strong? Sky's first reaction was, Wang, I want to drink your essence wine too. A small sip a day, and live to be 99. Robbie was different. His first reaction was, I see you only take a small sip a day. You gave my brother 2 drops before. It must be very expensive. If it's 1 or 2 drops a day, who can afford it? After thinking for a while, Robbie still asked, how much is your essence wine? 1 drop for 1 million. Lao Wang shrugged. How much? Robbie obviously didn't believe his ears. You heard it right. Lao Wang smiled. This is the truth. It's really dark. Robbie was relieved. I can't afford it at all. 1 drop a day, 30 million a month. I can't afford it, even if I sell myself. So don't even think about it. What should I do? You helped a lot in getting the dark book this time, so it's okay to give you the essence wine. Lao Wang said again. The problem is that the essence wine contains the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, the essence of the sun and the moon. Ordinary people can't absorb it directly. It will explode with a bang. I have to help sort it out constantly. In addition, it's useless to have a strong physical fitness. You have to know how to use it. You have to learn real kung fu, and I'm going back to New York soon. Hearing the first half of Lao Wang's sentence, Robbie was like a person in despair who saw hope, grateful and ashamed. I'm grateful for Lao Wang's generosity, and I gave him the essence wine worth 30 million yuan. I'm ashamed, because I didn't help much this time, and I was just a bystander the whole time. When I heard the second half of the sentence, Robbie was entangled. You can't let him stay here for a month, right? Wait. I was just thinking about moving. Yes, moving. Robbie made up his mind and said solemnly, Mr. Wang, I understand what you mean. I will go with you. Lao Wang was about to say the second set of words he had prepared to persuade Robbie to go with him. But before he said it, Robbie took the initiative to ask. This is too proactive. Very good. Lao Wang looked relieved, as if he was watching a golden leek with long legs running over. Robbie, you have grown up and become a mature leek. You have to learn to cut yourself. Thanks to Zio882 for the 100 reward. Chapter 43 Tony is missing. Moving is not difficult. Sky helped to find a suitable house that day, with 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen and a bathroom, near the bachelor apartment rented by Lao Wang. Robbie didn't know what reason he used to convince Gabe, and then returned to the repair shop, worked overtime to repair Sky's old truck, replaced the best brake pads and tires for free, and then told the owner of the repair shop that he would stop working for the time being and contact him later. The next morning, 4 people and 2 cars drove to New York. Robbie didn't actually plan to stay in New York for too long. Mr. Wang said that it would only take 1 month for Gabe to be able to protect himself. Come back in a month. Gabe still has to go to school. After hearing Robbie's plan, Sky laughed. You got on Lao Wang's chariot and wanted to get off halfway. Do you think it's a kindergarten bus or a bus that stops at every stop? Young man, you are too naive. The moment you got on the bus, Lao Wang welded the door shut. For the essence of wine worth 30 million US dollars, you sold yourself and your brother in a package. Ghost Rider is so cheap. Lao Wang said that the shield of Captain America costs at least 50 million US dollars for materials alone. The real value is hard to estimate. If you count Captain America himself, the total value is more than a few hundred million. Robbie, don't talk about Captain America. You are not as expensive as his shield. How can you get by? Because Lao Wang was driving, Sky turned on his laptop and went online to see if he could find a job to make some money. His wallet was really empty this time. 3 years of hard work was gone. Lao Wang, you must compensate me with essence wine. I want to squeeze your essence out. Suddenly, a piece of news attracted Sky's attention. Today's headlines: the chairman of Stark Industries, an important military partner, a genius among geniuses, ranked in the top 10 of the Forbes rich list and celebrity list for 10 consecutive years, a fashion girl and popular actress Reaper, a self-centered lunatic, a proud megalomaniac, and a leftover man who never got married, was attacked by terrorists in Afghanistan and disappeared. Stark Industries stock price plummeted by 22.34 percentage points, and capital fled. Sky was stunned for a moment, slammed the computer, screamed, and wanted to die. The share price of Stark Industries, which Lao Wang had always asked her to pay attention to, fell for the second time since its listing, and it fell through the sky. When was the last time it fell? When the founder Howard Stark had a car accident. Lao Wang said several times that, as long as the price fell, you should buy it crazily, and you will make a profit. Sky believed this. Lao Wang looked more reliable. The problem is, there is no money in my pocket. Isn't Lao Wang's essence wine worth $1 million per drop? Otherwise, convince him to sell some. As for customers, SHIELD is very good, or those billionaires and 10 billionaires who are old and sick, and will not live for a few more years. Driving a red sports car to the destination, changing to a Quinjet, Carlson and Melinda quickly arrived at the SHIELD Trident headquarters. Without taking a break, he went to the director's office as soon as possible, put the information he sorted out overnight on the table, and Carlson began a 10-minute report. In addition to Ludan, Black Widow, who was related to this incident, was also present. Her face was ruddy, and it was obvious that her injuries had recovered well, thanks to the essence injected by Lao Wang. Cough. True energy. Ludan has been very quiet. He is listening, thinking, and analyzing. The appearance of Hydra was not unexpected. The identity of the Winter Soldier revealed by the Kunlun Iron Fist surprised him a little, and even produced divergent associations. If the Winter Soldier is really Sergeant Barnes, if he was subjected to the enhanced experiment by Hydra, and fell off the cliff without dying, then Captain America, who is stronger than him, would not die. This thought flashed through his mind, and Ludan didn't think much about it. When Captain America disappeared, the predecessor of SHIELD, the Strategic Scientific Corps, organized many searches, but couldn't find him, and even couldn't find Captain America's fighter plane. He should be dead, otherwise he would not have come back. Of course, he may have lost his memory, just like the male and female protagonists in Korean idol dramas. Perhaps someone should be sent to investigate the place where Captain America disappeared that year. The strength of the Winter Soldier surprised Ludan. If nothing unexpected happened, he should have undergone similar physical strengthening experiments as a Red Skull and Captain America. His combat performance was no worse than Captain America back then, but he was not impossible to deal with. What really concerned Ludan was the Kunlun Iron Fist. Strange, I seem to have heard of this name somewhere. Ludan had the most secrets in the world, hidden in his mind, but his memory was limited after all, so he stored more and more detailed information in a small black cube. This cube, which was smaller than a third-order Rubik's Cube, used the most advanced technology of the SHIELD Technology Department, the most advanced intelligence system, the hardest metal shell, the most unbreakable encryption system, the largest capacity memory, and level 10 authority. It was a toolbox. Nick Fury's exclusive toolbox. Kunlun, Iron Fist. Ludan had black lips and white teeth, and his pronunciation was clear. The small black cube immediately began an intelligence search, and all the information related to Kunlun and Iron Fist was retrieved. Kunlun, the hometown of all gods. No. Kunlun, Feng Zhe's novel. No. Kunlun, a Chinese character for it. No. Kunlun, an organization that only exists in legends. Yes, that's it. Iron Fist, describing a hard fist. No. Iron Fist, a movie. No. Iron Fist, one of the 7 immortal weapons of Kunlun in legend. Yes, that's it. Ludan read them one by one. It was very calm at first. Then it became calmer and calmer, so calm that it was scary illusory legends, oral accounts of certain people, records of insiders. All the information was torn apart and mixed together in his mind. A powerful and mysterious organization gradually took shape. Kunlun, a place of immortals that no one could find. Iron Fist, a legacy of mysterious power related to a dragon named Xiaolao, passed down from generation to generation. Key: this mysterious oriental power can give ordinary people superhuman strength, speed, endurance, and senses, and even the ability to heal wounds and even resurrect the dead. And the mysterious man who defeated the Winter Soldier fully meets the requirements. So, that person is really Kunlun Iron Fist? No, there are other possibilities. Kunlun is not just Iron Fist, just like Kung Fu Panda is not just Panda. Iron Fist is not the only one who can use Kai. According to the intelligence collected by SHIELD over the past few decades, many people are related to Kai. For example, Shankai. For example, the 5 fingers of the hand. What is their relationship with Iron Fist? What is their relationship with Kunlun? Luden closed his eyes and opened them after more than 10 seconds. The line of Kunlun Iron Fist cannot be broken. The dark book is still in his hands. Luden stared at Natasha with his one eye. Agent Romanov, you have had contact with Iron Fist and know him better. You come to investigate. Pay special attention to the hand in the Chinese who know Kung Fu. Carlson, May, you hand over the relevant information to Agent Romanov. The hand? Director, what's wrong with your brain circuit? Why did you associate it with the hand? Natasha was helpless. Of course she had to obey the director's orders. Shouldn't the focus now be on dealing with Hydra? Agent Romanov is the best agent and is best suited to dealing with Hydra. I can handle the investigation of Kunlun Iron Fist. Carlson volunteered. I will deal with Hydra myself. Luden briefly explained, then said, Carlson, May, you have more important things to do. Tony Stark is missing. Chapter 44. We rely on our strength to find food. That playboy who slept with everyone in the entertainment and fashion circles is missing. Natasha raised her eyebrows. She has been recovering from her injuries these 2 days and really didn't know about this. That guy is too important and his identity is too special. SHIELD will be busy. I heard on the way that he was probably captured by terrorists, either to exchange for money or to let Mr. Stark make Jericho missiles for them. He went to the Middle East to sell Jericho missiles. I've read relevant information, and the explosion of Jericho missiles is terrifying. Carlson frowned and said, the Middle East is not SHIELD's sphere of influence. We don't have many agents there. It's difficult to find Mr. Stark who was captured by terrorists. The Department of Defense is more anxious than us. Stark Industries is the largest supplier to the military. We are more professional than the Department of Defense in finding people, and we will do our best. Luden rubbed his temples, feeling a headache. Howard Stark is one of the founders of SHIELD, and we can't ignore his son. In addition, as you know, Howard has been sponsoring SHIELD for billions of dollars every year. SHIELD also has shares in Stark Industries. SHIELD has so many agents, and so many high-tech equipment, and the Quinjet is so expensive. Where does the money come from? Just rely on government funding? It's not enough. In fact, SHIELD has many unknown industries, and some specialize in investment. There are also many seized items when executing missions. It has overt and covert cooperation with many chaebols and companies. But the biggest boss is still Stark Industries. Who made the founder of Stark Industries one of the founders of SHIELD? The 2 generations of Stark certainly contributed a lot to the success of Stark Industries, but it is impossible to say that there was no help from SHIELD. Carlson looked up at the boiled egg and asked, Director, why don't you blush? This ability is really enviable. SHIELD shares are your shares, and SHIELD's money is your money. Where did all that money go? How many mistresses did you raise outside? Bah. How many secret agents did you raise outside? And how many secret bases did you build? Director, you know it in your heart. In addition, because of the relationship between Stark Industries and SHIELD, many people in SHIELD bought shares of Stark Industries, including me. Tony Stark disappeared, and Stark Industries shares fell by more than 20 percentage points, suffering heavy losses. Director, For the sake of the stocks to rise again, and for the full body paint of Lala, I have to find Tony. If I find Tony, I should be able to keep this year's year-end bonus, right? Thinking of this, Carlson was full of energy. This is very important, Carlson. Luden reminded again. Ms. Peggy Carter called me 5 hours ago. She is a friend of Mr. Howard Stark. He is very concerned about this matter and asked me to find him. Melinda looked up suddenly. She was brought up by Peggy Carter. Everything she has now was given by Ms. Carter. Ms. Carter's business is her business. That playboy must not get into trouble. Is something wrong with the future Iron Man? Lao Wang counted with his fingers, and it seems to be about this time. The plot of Iron Man 1 officially begins, and the Marvel world opens the most exciting curtain. In the next 10 years, aliens, inhumans, mutants, demons, wizards, gods, all kinds of monsters and demons will appear on the stage. Superheroes and supervillains will let people all over the world know the world they always thought was very safe is actually more dangerous than in science fiction movies. The reason why it has been safe and sound is that Kamataj and the 3 temple wizards, led by the supreme sorcerer, have made great contributions. The second is Odin, the Norse god king who prefers peace and stability when he is old. Of course, S.H.I.E.L.D. has also played a significant role, which cannot be denied. But it won't be long before the supreme sorcerer will leave in the form of physical death. According to the setting, he will become a holy spirit and follow the eternal god to travel the multiverse. It's full of style, and I don't know if it's true. Odin will die. Under the destruction of Hydra and the efforts of Ludan, Carlson and others, S.H.I.E.L.D. has gradually changed from a super organization directly controlled by the United Nations to a few scattered soldiers, and fallen step by step. But the Avengers will rise. Those Avengers who crushed conspiracy after conspiracy and killed villain after villain will die, half of them, because of the purple potato spirit's light snap of fingers, and then stage an unprecedented reversal. Some people appear on stage, some people leave, some people have a warm bed with their wives and children, and some people have grass 3 feet high on their graves. And all of this will change from now on. Because I exist in this world. Lao Wang sighed and looked up at the gradually disappearing sunset at a 45-degree angle. I feel that my shoulders have never been as heavy as today. Shouldering the mission of saving the world. My mind suddenly became broad. My realm suddenly improved. My outlook on life and the world suddenly refreshed. Sky, who was sitting in the back seat busy making money to support Lao Wang, suddenly had a strange feeling. Looking up, he was immediately attracted by Lao Wang's posture. The light of the setting sun shone through the window and fell on him, as if he was covered with a layer of golden gauze, which made Lao Wang look hazy and mysterious, noble and distant, as if it came from the sky. Suddenly, an unexpected voice pulled Sky back to reality from his trance, and pulled Lao Wang back to earth from heaven. Goo goo. Lao Wang rubbed his stomach and thought, I'm not a big cute guy, why are you calling me goo goo? Panda people are not pandas, and never act cute. We rely on our strength to find food. Far away in the Middle East, Afghanistan, in a desolate mountain, in a cave with very poor ventilation, Tony Stark woke up from a coma. At first, his eyes were blurry, his mind was tired, and his brain was not working well. But soon he became clear and sober. Some pictures emerged in his mind. Exploding missiles, flying bullets, American soldiers dying around him one by one. So, what happened? A terrorist attack. Am I kidnapped? There was a tube in my nose. It was so uncomfortable, and my chest was aching. Tony pulled the tube out with all his strength and wanted to sit up, but he couldn't. Suddenly he heard a sound. Turning his head, he saw an old man who was at least in his 60s shaving in front of a mirror. He wanted to roll over sideways and stand up in this way. He still couldn't move because he seemed to be held by something. I wouldn't move if it were you, Mr. Stark. The man didn't even turn his head. Tony lowered his head. He lifted up his clothes and saw a strange round object embedded in his chest. 2 wires were connected to the battery next to him. What did you do to me? Tony's voice was weak. He had always been strong, but now he was like a weak girl who took off all her clothes and could only be slaughtered. The old man put down the razor, stood up, turned around, and said with a smile, I saved your life. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 45, Azeroth Souvenir Shop. One day later, after sending Robbie and Gabe to their new home, Lao Wang and Sky came to Lao Wang's single apartment. "Wang, we should fight for our future life." Sky sat down on the sofa and said righteously, "We have no money, really no money. If we don't make money, we will starve and live a life of poverty. Absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, absorb the essence of the sun and the moon. Those who eat air will be gods and live long. Drinking northwest wind is good, southeast wind is better." Lao Wang casually took out a copy of Huananzi and threw it to Sky. "Take a good look, and you will be full when your heart is calm. Get lost." Sky knocked the Huananzi down, then picked up a copy of 3-character classic and shook it. "I just learned this. Your copy is too advanced. Also, can reading make money? Can reading fill your stomach? Can reading help you marry a husband? No. Stop it. Seriously, we have to make money. You owe me a lot of money. Books contain golden houses. Books contain thousands of catties of millet. Books contain beautiful women. Spiritual food. Very delicious." Seeing that Sky was going to embarrass himself with the book again, Lao Wang begged for mercy. Okay, it's time to make money. Haven't I been working hard? The Dark Book Laboratory has been established, and we are going to make a lot of money. I tell you, I will change your car in less than 2 years. You don't want the popular Doomsday Chariot, do you like the Quinjet? If not, I will see if I can get you the SHIELD Skyship. I don't know if it's built yet. It's impossible to work as a part-time worker. It's impossible to work as a part-time worker in this life. So I can only be the boss. The Dark Book Laboratory is now an empty shell, and new research remains in the theoretical stage. Lucy and Ellie are still learning the knowledge in it. Of course, Lao Wang didn't leave the Dark Book to them, but Sky copied the contents and sent them to them. On the one hand, he was worried that these guys would be greedy and run away with the Dark Book, and on the other hand, he was worried that once they were found by Hydra, they would lose both the book and the people. Fortunately, Sky is also a technology person, and the content he saw is the same as Lucy and Ellie, so it's not a problem. Back then, Lucy and her team only spent a long time studying a few pages of the content. According to Lucy, the knowledge recorded in the Dark Book far exceeds the current level of technology, and is not something that the human brain can fully understand. Even if it is just a few pages of content, it will take months or even years to understand it. Don't rush. It is not impossible to steal the energy of hell and create things out of thin air, but once it is connected with hell, it is easy to open a crack between the real world and hell. At that time, if something like the spirit of revenge runs out of hell, it will be a big problem. And it is not so easy to create things out of thin air. It is easy to create a piece of carbon, but it is difficult to create a person. The wizards of Kamataj believe that every spell has a price. The Dark Book is essentially a magic book. Although many spells in it can be realized in a scientific way, they also have a price and hidden dangers. But the hidden dangers of some spells are not too great. Lao Wang is not a wizard, let alone a scientist, and he can't understand the Dark Book at all. But he has watched Agents of SHIELD, and knows that there are a few things that the Dark Book can definitely do. The original experiment has been terminated. The first research that Lao Wang asked Lucy and Ellie to do was the framework. The so-called framework is actually a very large virtual world, similar to the Matrix in the Matrix, and if it is really perfected, it is likely to be more advanced. Because it is actually not like the virtual world on the technological side. It is more like the super large fantasy on the magic side, and even a bit like the Emerald Dream in World of Warcraft. Of course it is much lower end. What can a virtual world with a degree of reality close to 100% do? Military training, virtual learning, entertainment and social interaction, virtual games, an unprecedented spiritual world, a second world for all mankind. Everything is possible. The money prospects are unimaginable. Of course, For Lao Wang, a life winner who once stood at the pinnacle of power and wealth, money is like a cloud and is not important. At least it is more interesting, isn't it? Sky had long been immune to Lao Wang and had no interest in complaining. He mocked him bluntly, a laboratory that can only cheat others to rent a warehouse. A laboratory with only $1,000 in startup capital? Wang, ideals are full, but reality is skeletal. What we need to consider now is making money. Okay, what do you think? Lao Wang changed to a more comfortable JU pose and looked up at Sky. Sell your essence wine. Sky came close to Lao Wang's face and said, I'll contact the customer. After the sale, it's 50 to 50. Forget it. 30 to 70. You 70 and I 30. How about it? You're good at Chinese. Lao Wang smiled and thought that this idea was not bad. For those old rich people who are about to die of old age and illness and are eager to extend their lives, 1 million is nothing. Even 10 million, 100 million, 1 billion. As long as they can extend their lives, money is not a problem. It is possible to use money to buy gold to exchange for the essence of the eternal well water and sell it and make a profit of 10 times or even 100 times the price difference. And there is no need to worry about sales. There are plenty of rich people in this world and even more people waiting to extend their lives. There is no need to worry about selling too much and being forced to lower the price. Marvel is more than just Earth, one planet and one civilization. If Earth cannot be sold, you can go to the 9 kingdoms. If the 9 kingdoms are not needed, you can go to the 3 major Marvel empires or even other messy civilized countries. How many people are there in the entire Marvel universe? No one can count. Although some races have a long lifespan, it is also limited. The lifespans of the Kree and the Skrulls are not much longer. Although the Asgardians can live longer, they are only about 5,000 years old. There should be many people who are about to die of old age, right? I just don't know if the essence of the Well of Eternity is effective for the people of Asgard. In addition, why only sell the essence of the Well of Eternity? Sky's words opened Lao Wang's mind. The world of Warcraft may not be higher than the Marvel world, but at least there are some specialties that this world does not have. Scarcity makes things valuable. The essence of the Well of Eternity is just one of them. Equipment can be sold, special metals, Warcraft furs, and elemental materials can be sold, potions, elixirs, and blends can be sold, even knowledge itself can be sold. Miss Azeroth will definitely support this. It's good to share what we have. So, I want to become the legendary red-topped businessman in the plane, commonly known as a trader. Sky, let's open a store. Lao Wang turned over and pressed on Sky, looking down at Sky with burning eyes. How about opening the coolest store in the universe? What store? Sky felt a little chest tightness, breathless, and couldn't stand Lao Wang's weight. Lao Wang didn't even think about it. A very cool name appeared in his mind, and he blurted out, Azeroth Local Specialty Store. Chapter 46 Ghost Rider Delivery Man. After finally kicking Lao Wang away, Sky rubbed her chest, feeling a little painful. What is Azeroth? She took a look at the necklace on Lao Wang's neck, and knew that it was called the Heart of Azeroth. Could it be that the so-called Azeroth is a mysterious place that I don't know about? A mysterious country unknown to the Earth? A planet or a civilization in the universe? Or even another dimension similar to Hell in the Dark Dimension? If it were the previous Sky or someone else, she would definitely not think so. But Sky is different now. 3 years ago, she met Lao Wang and ruined her life. Her 3 views were completely changed, including her worldview. Lao Wang kept instilling messy settings into her, such as the 9 kingdoms, the multiverse, the single universe, the pocket universe, the extra dimension, the high dimension and the low dimension, the parallel universe, aliens, and mutants. I really don't know what's wrong with his brain. How can he come up with so many ideas? I haven't seen you write novels. He doesn't know that Lao Wang has thousands of novels in his mind and has made hundreds of worldviews. Before his first time traveling, he was a failed author on a certain website. At first, it was nothing. Sky listened to it to relieve her boredom, and it was indeed very interesting. But now it was different. Ghost Rider had come out, Hell had come out, and she had seen ghosts being reborn as human beings. Everything was possible. This made her even have a bold association. Could it be that Lao Wang came from the mysterious Azeroth? Or had some kind of connection with Azeroth? Like the Camotage mage that Lao Wang had mentioned? Of course, she would definitely not ask about the specific situation. Lao Wang would say what he wanted to say, and it didn't matter if he didn't want to say it. What she cared about was not Lao Wang's origin, but Lao Wang himself. Thinking of this, Sky felt that the word Azeroth could be retained. Specialty was nothing. But why did they have to add the word local? So she protested strongly. From verbal protests to physical protests, she finally achieved brilliant results. Azeroth Local Specialty Store became Azeroth Specialty Store. Lao Wang was naturally the boss, and she was successfully upgraded to salesperson plus cashier. We still need a delivery man and a security guard. Sky took a small notebook to take minutes of the meeting, bit the tip of the pen and muttered, "The things sold in our store must be very expensive. There are so many gangs in New York, it's not safe. And there is also Hydra, SHIELD, and you can't keep watching, you have to hire a few security guards. Forget about the delivery man, we only sell goods, and don't deliver them. That won't work, the service must be thoughtful." Lao Wang knocked on the table, and a hint of ill intention appeared at the corner of his mouth. "We have the most reliable delivery men and security guards in the world." Sky was stunned. An old driver with a raging head appeared in his mind. "You mean, Robbie is preparing to find a job? How much money can he make as a repairman? Gabe will see the effect of drinking essence wine in the future. Robbie will definitely let him continue to drink, and he has no money to buy it. What should he do?" Lao Wang blinked. "What do you think of me signing a 10-year contract with him? I definitely can't give him money, but I can use essence wine as salary. 1 drop a day. How about it?" Lao Wang is kind. Really? He is thinking about Robbie. Being a deliveryman or security guard at the Azeroth specialty store, there must be many people who are eyeing you, and even trying to do something dirty. Those who do something dirty are basically not good people. Robbie is the Ghost Rider, and he just needs to do something not good, so that the spirit of vengeance can grow stronger, and he can grow stronger. Lao Wang is very thoughtful. "Robbie, don't thank me." Sky wanted to say, "Wang, don't go too far. What kind of man is it to bully the Ghost Rider? If you have the guts, go bully Odin." But when he heard what Lao Wang said, he hesitated for a moment. "Well, 1 drop a day is too much? Or 1 drop a month?" Lao Wang was stunned. "Is this the price of a Ghost Rider in your eyes, Sky? Tony Stark, who was just kidnapped, the future Iron Man, makes at least tens of millions of dollars a day, and tens of billions of dollars for a single order. You don't even give him 1 million a day. Do you have to be so stingy?" Lao Wang shook his head, took out the eternal water bottle, and took a sip. Suddenly he was stunned. The eternal water bottle is actually not big. A small sip a day, even if you only sip it, you can finish it in a month at most. If you give it 1 drop a day, it doesn't seem to last long. And in a short period of time, I don't know where to get the things to exchange. You can't take the dark book, right? This thing is still useful. Some buyers are much more generous than the young lady. Sky, you are right. Thinking of this, Lao Wang nodded. Then he took out a bottle of Erguotao from the refrigerator, and opened the lid. Pour it into the eternal water bottle. Well, it looks much better. Looking at the filled eternal water bottle, Lao Wang's mood instantly brightened. Drink a little and fill a little. You can't finish it in a lifetime. Sky rolled his eyes and felt sad for Robbie. Young man, when you don't know, you have been cheated again. Lao Wang, you are too much. Sky snorted, defending Robbie, and suddenly his eyes turned. Wang, didn't you say that Ghost Rider is immortal? We who practice martial arts can also live longer, and there is no problem living 100 years. I think 10 years is too short, otherwise sign a 100-year contract. Lao Wang, this woman is more ruthless than men. Just 10 years. Lao Wang made the decision. Too much is meaningless. After all, the purple potato spirit will snap its fingers in 10 years. At that time, you can either rely on your luck, kill the purple potato spirit, or steal the infinite gems. By then, no matter what, Ghost Rider will not be needed. Let's discuss the next topic. Sky knocked on the table with the tip of the pen. To open a store, you need a store. Let's not talk about the fact that we don't have money to rent a store. Even if we have, stores in New York are not easy to rent. This is a problem. It is not easy to rent, and Lao Wang will definitely not leave Chinatown. It is more comfortable to live in a place where Chinese is spoken, although most of the Chinese here don't speak it very authentically. But Lao Wang has a way. Take out your mobile phone and dial. Lao Wang's face was instantly filled with smiles, and her voice became much sweeter. Sister Hung, I have learned a new massage technique, a full set, more comfortable than the one in the bath center. Why don't you try it? A lazy voice came from the other side. Tell me, do you want to default on the rent, or do you want to borrow money? Lao Wang, sister, I have told you many times, with your looks, your figure, your physique, and your master level massage technique, as long as you are willing to be my public relations, I guarantee that you will earn $1 million a month. Beside, Sky stared at Lao Wang and sneered. It was like looking at a street girl in front of a barber shop, or the top girl in a TV series. Chapter 47, Lao Wang is fishing, and those who are willing to take the bait will be caught. Sister Hang's full name is Ruan King Hang. She is 3 years older than Lao Wang, and is a third generation rich. The single apartment that Lao Wang rents is hers. She also owns more than a dozen nearby buildings. She owns countless shops in Chinatown and even New York. Although she is not qualified to be on the Forbes rich list, her assets are at least among the top 100 Chinese in the United States. The real rich man is her grandfather. Lao Wang has a good relationship with Ruan King Hang's grandparents. In fact, he has a good relationship with many old men and women in Chinatown. He is a veritable friend of the middle-aged and elderly. Although the business card he handed to Melinda before was printed casually by a roadside graphic store, the introduction on it looks ridiculous and like a liar. But in fact Lao Wang is really a famous quack doctor in Chinatown and is not afraid of shield investigation. Lao Wang cannot open a clinic without studying medicine, diploma, or medical qualification certificate, but it does not mean that he cannot treat people. Medicine and martial arts are inseparable. Even without using True Key, Lao Wang is still a qualified doctor. Pediatrics and gynecology are difficult to treat, mainly because they are not easy to treat casually, and people are not willing to let Lao Wang treat them. But Lao Wang is an expert in relaxing muscles and bones, massage, etc., and the elderly who have tried it all say it is good. Word of mouth spreads slowly. Lao Wang does not want money, but earns favors. With good relationships, there is no need to worry about not having a job to support yourself. Sister Hang is still studying at Caltech. Lao Wang made a phone call, and Sister Hang did not ask much. A small store was quickly settled. The rent was not too much, not too little, and it was the market price. There was no special treatment. Being able to vacate a store was already a great treatment. This is the respect for Lao Wang. The store is not big, the rent is temporarily suspended, and Sister Hang is not short of money. Because it was originally a grocery store, there was no need for decoration. It was opened after changing the brand and completing the procedures. Lao Wang is not like some novels, who do not sell low-end products, but only sell Azeroth specialties with very high prices. Of course there are items with high price tags, but there is only one item, the signature essence wine, which is so ridiculously expensive that no one wants to buy it. There are still a lot of things left in the store, and Lao Wang bought them at cost price and continued to sell them. The money was given by Sky. She actually still has money, and Lao Wang said he didn't even know it. What a good woman who knows how to live and hide her private money. Half of the people on the street know Lao Wang, and his business is no different from before. Sky is watching the store, Robbie is buying and delivering goods, and Lao Wang moves a recliner to the door to bask in the sun. By the way, he uses his true key to help Gabe absorb the essence of the eternal well water and teaches him to stand still and meditate. Don't mention it, this handsome and smart high school student is also a top student. He has good grades in school, and now he is also very serious in practicing martial arts with Lao Wang. Who doesn't like such a student? Lao Wang doesn't like it, because he always asks questions, which affects his sunbathing. Robbie is jealous. Under the instigation of the spirit of vengeance, he also practices martial arts when he has nothing to do, so Sky is busy alone in most cases. For ordinary people, it is not bad to live like this. Work for a few years to save money to marry a wife and have a happy family. The problem is that Lao Wang is not an ordinary person. One day, Robbie came over and handed the phone to Lao Wang. "Boss, your uncle wants to see you." Lao Wang took the phone and was stunned. Then he remembered that he seemed to have a dark book laboratory and a group of hungry scientists waiting to be fed. As soon as I picked up the phone, Ella's cautious voice came from the inside. "Boss, there are only $250 left of the $1,000 you left. We don't even dare to eat hamburgers now. Hugo said that being a human is too painful. It's better to be a ghost. You won't be hungry, even if you don't eat." Lucy said that if you buy a bag of rice and cook rice, it should be enough for a week. When Lao Wang heard this, he was stunned for a moment. Is rice in Puerto Rico so expensive? Or are you too greedy? $250 is not enough for a week. Puff. Robbie standing next to him almost glared at the fire of hell. "Boss, you are focusing on the wrong thing. You have to eat some vegetables." Gabe, who was trying to stand still, couldn't help but complain for Ellie. Sky was using his unskilled Chinese to try to deal with the bargaining of the old lady who was buying things, and he didn't hear anything. On the other end of the phone, Ellie was very tired and didn't want to talk at all. Boss, I have lived for more than 40 years, and this is the first time I have met a boss like you, and the first time I have joined a laboratory that is so poor. $1,000 of startup capital. Others must have at least several million, or even tens of millions or hundreds of millions, right? Okay, I remember this. Old Wang blushed. Now is not the same era as before. Researching atomic bombs is not as good as selling tea eggs. It's the 21st century. How can scientists suffer? Gabe is right. In addition to rice, you can also eat some vegetables and meat. Don't starve. The money will be in place soon. Old Wang patted Robbie's chest and promised. Ellie, who was about to ask the exact time on the other end, couldn't help but sigh. Without money, I dare not buy hamburgers. As a wanted criminal, I dare not pass by the police station. I have to be careful when going out. The equipment brought from the laboratory has been installed, but it was too hasty at the time, so I didn't bring much, and there are still many missing, at least several million US, and this is to save as much as possible. I dare not use the equipment well, otherwise tens of millions will not be able to stop it. Apart from other things, the laboratory consumes a lot of electricity. If it really operates normally, I can't afford the electricity bill. When will this day end? After hanging up the phone, Lao Wang waved his hand, lay back on the chair, and counted with his fingers. It's been several days. It's time for real customers to come. Lao Wang waved his hand towards the store. Sky, come here. I'll tell you a story today. Ah, isn't it class time now? Sky trotted over and, as usual, naturally massaged Lao Wang's shoulders. Wang, your superhero series of stories. I've heard of the Havoc in Heaven, Nezza's battle with the dragon, and the good baby. Which one will I tell you today? Jiang Taegan fishing. Lao Wang squinted his eyes, took a sip of wine, and said in a distant voice, the willing ones take the bait. Natasha has been very busy recently. The director's orders must be carried out, and she herself also wants to find the Kunlun Iron Fist. The mysterious power key from the east has a fatal attraction to her. If she learns key, her strength will definitely be raised to a new level, which is a great guarantee for completing the task and her own safety. She has been investigating the hand these days. This mysterious organization seems to be related to Kunlun. Its members come from different places around the world. It is said that it has spheres of influence in dozens of countries in the East and the West, such as Japan, Russia, and the United States. The leaders of the hand are 5 fingers, each of whom is very mysterious. Shield doesn't even know who they are. Of course, it is mainly because the hand did not deliberately provoke Shield, so it didn't investigate it in detail. Now she found out that the hand is very deep. The members of the organization, especially those from the eastern countries, are basically fighting masters, proficient in Muay Thai, Taekwondo, Karate, Judo, and Chinese martial arts, and have strong abilities. Several dojis and martial arts halls in New York seem to be related to the hand, but there are not many who can master ki. According to limited records, one of them is Mrs. Gao. Unfortunately, this Mrs. Gao is a Chinese, and her main industry is also in China. Although she also has a sphere of influence in New York, and has a connection with the famous Rand Group, she is not in New York now. Natasha decided to check in another direction. Chinese. There are Chinese people all over New York, but the largest number of them is in Chinatown. The Mr. Wang on the business card Melinda gave me lives in Chinatown. Chapter 48 Black Widow Investigation. Natasha did not go to the house directly, but investigated first. She wandered around Chinatown for 3 days, and learned about Mr. Wang's life through various means. Lived in an orphanage since childhood, liked martial arts, because he had watched Hong Kong martial arts movies. Practiced by himself when he had nothing to do, and once became the object of ridicule by other orphans. At the age of 12, he used the $13.51 he had saved with great difficulty to buy more than a dozen books by the pound from an old man who was selling books on the street. Left the orphanage at the age of 14 and made a living by massage, muscle relaxation and bone straightening. His skills are great, and he is deeply loved by middle-aged and elderly women and men. He doesn't charge money, and has many nicknames. Lao Wang, self-proclaimed. Lao Wang, called by most people. Da Wang, called by peers. Master Wang, called by patients. Wang Jian Qiang, born of thunder and lightning, exclusively for the director of the orphanage. Wang Xiaopang, called by other people in the orphanage. Mr. Wang, called by very few people, has a record of fighting, and has never lost, has challenged all the martial arts halls in Chinatown and the nearby 19 streets, and has never lost. Met Sky, who is 1 year older than him, 3 years ago, and they have a close relationship. Sky often invites him to have long talks in the truck all night, or invites Sky to the single apartment to discuss life and ideals. The business card Melinda gave was in the hands of almost every old man or woman over 60 years old in Chinatown. This Master Wang is actually a celebrity in Chinatown. Shield's investigation soon yielded results. Robbie Riaz saw Sky's spam advertisement for Master Wang, who can cure all diseases, on the internet and called. Probably because she had no other options and was desperate, she asked Master Wang to treat her brother Gabe's broken leg. She didn't know that Sky had forged the network and communication records. Then Master Wang and Sky went to Los Angeles. The car broke down, so they sent it to a repair shop to repair it, and then went to Robert's house. Afterwards, there was a transfer. The amount was not small. It should be the medical fee. A few days ago, Robbie and Gabe moved and followed Master Wang to New York. Master Wang suddenly opened a specialty store, and it is estimated that he used the medical fee given by Robbie. Robbie worked as a clerk for Master Wang, and Gabe followed Master Wang to learn martial arts. Interesting. Natasha's eyes became brighter and brighter. He is a master of massage and bone setting, and he is a master of both. He is also a master of fighting. How could a boy under 18 years old have such ability and become a master of both? There is nothing suspicious about his life. The real turning point was that time when he bought more than a dozen books at a roadside stall. Self-taught? No. There are geniuses everywhere in the world, but this Master Wang is no longer a genius. Either he is the reincarnation of a living Buddha, or he is taught by a master. The old man who sells things at the stall is the real master. Natasha used her imagination. The old man who sells things at the stall saw that Master Wang, who was still a child, liked martial arts, and was diligent and hardworking. He might be a rare genius that only appears once in 100 years, so he took on the important task of saving the world. Ahem. So he took a fancy to Master Wang and secretly accepted him as his apprentice to teach him martial arts and Chinese medicine. Just like when Ms. Carter fell in love with Melinda at first sight, that's how the current Iron Cavalry came into being. As for who the old man who sells things at the stall is, the real Kunlun Iron Fist. Natasha clenched her fist. Although it was all speculation, she was confident. It was almost certain. Why did Kunlun Iron Fist train Master Wang? Maybe they just saw Wang's diligence and qualifications, or maybe they wanted to train the next generation for Kunlun. If Master Wang is lucky, he might have the opportunity to become the next Iron Fist of Kunlun, and soar to the sky. If you want to find Kunlun Iron Fist, Master Wang is the breakthrough point. Natasha no longer hesitated. Kunlun Iron Fist had contact with her, and Carlson and Melinda had also had contact with Master Wang. As long as Master Wang was not stupid, he would definitely know that he was being targeted and take precautions. Carlson and Melinda had a high opinion of Master Wang. Surveillance is useless. The other party will not reveal any flaws. Tough measures are not appropriate. After all, S.H.I.E.L.D's target is Iron Fist, not Master Wang. To put it bluntly, S.H.I.E.L.D. has many fighting masters and fighting masters, and no matter how awesome the fighting master is, can he block bullets and grenades? If well prepared, a well-trained and well-equipped S.H.I.E.L.D. agent can kill the so-called fighting master. But Iron Fist is different. Limited data shows that Kung Fu masters who use Kai have comprehensive physical fitness, and their strength, speed, physique, nerve reflex speed, and various senses are all superior to ordinary people. Even if such people are unarmed, ordinary agents cannot deal with them. The moment you draw your gun, the other party has already discovered you and killed you. Although there was only a few minutes of contact, Natasha was sure Iron Fist is not an ordinary Kung Fu master, but a master, a grand master. His strength has surpassed the performance of those Kung Fu masters recorded in the S.H.I.E.L.D's level 7 secret files, including Mrs. Gao. The most important thing is that from the tone of the director, it seems that he wants to pull Iron Fist into the chariot and form the Avengers. Iron Fist seems to have no ill will towards S.H.I.E.L.D. In this case, the means should be gentler and not too tough. Maybe they will be teammates in the future. Natasha decided to pay a visit. On this day, she came to the Azeroth specialty store. As soon as she arrived at the door, Natasha was stunned. "Aren't you guys going too far?" 3 men were sunbathing at the door. Well, 1 was sunbathing on a chair, and 2 were squatting. There were not many customers in the shop, but there was only 1 girl busying around. It looked wrong. Where was the gentleman's demeanor? As a Black Widow who had received the most rigorous and cruel agent training, Natasha did not believe in gentlemanly demeanor, taking care of women. When they were on a mission together, she was the one who took care of those weak and pitiful men in most cases. Later, she simply stopped going on missions with others, and was always alone. But she was a woman after all, and she still couldn't stand the scene in front of her. I don't ask you to give preferential treatment to women. But at least there should be equality between men and women, right? Natasha took a deep breath, calmed down, and looked at the shop and the surrounding environment in a simple, but not simple way. The shop was not big, but it was rented so quickly. It was not only a matter of money, but also showed that Master Wang had a wide network of contacts and face. This was earned by treating old men and women for free for 4 years. People coming and going were very kind to Master Wang, and Master Wang behaved very casually, which was exactly the performance of a good relationship. Sure enough, we can't take tough measures, otherwise there will be big trouble. Whether in China or the United States, old men and old ladies are not easy to mess with, especially when they reach a certain level. What if hundreds or thousands of old men and old ladies go to the New York City government to protest, or dance in the square? Robbie and Gabe squatted in horse stands, which looked like a show off, but they were in excellent physical condition, and their legs didn't tremble. It was incredible. How did they do it? What's even more incredible is that Gabe's leg was broken, so why did he look completely healed? Is it the effect of some magical oriental treatment, or the help of Ki? Natasha's eyes drifted to Master Wang. She was a little disappointed at first, and then shocked. This Master Wang actually gave her the feeling that he is just an ordinary fat otaku. If it were somewhere else, she would really think that Master Wang was an ordinary person, but it was obviously not. He did not have any characteristics of a fighting master or a kung fu master. The palms are not rough, the legs are not thick, the buttocks are not particularly big, and the whole body exudes a lazy energy. Unlike Agent Grant Ward and Agent Brock Rumlow, they are always alert. Such a person is simply a natural pretender. What women envy most is that Master Wang has really good skin. It is not particularly white, but very healthy and delicate. How can a man be like this? In addition, most kung fu masters have a qualified height to weight ratio, but this Master Wang seems to be a little fat, and his belly is particularly obvious. It is not a beer belly, because it is so round and not sagging. It may be related to genes. Is he really a master of Chinese medicine / kung fu? No matter how you look at it, he looks like a liar master. Of course, Natasha will not deny her previous investigation and judgment. This can only mean that this Master Wang is not the same as she imagined. Maybe the disciples of Iron Fist should be like this. After the observation, Natasha made a mental draft and walked into the store like an ordinary person. The store is not big, there are not many shelves, and you can tell it is almost the same at a glance. Tiger bone medicinal wine, $66 a bottle. Tiger penis medicinal wine, $88 a bottle. Tiger tooth pendant, $99 a piece. Tiger head shoes, $11 a pair. Tiger skin hat, $22 a piece. Natasha was speechless and didn't want to complain. Master Wang, when did tigers become so cheap? In addition, the tiger skin hat and tiger head shoes were obviously made of cloth and had nothing to do with tigers. Natasha remained calm and sneered in her heart. However, Master Wang cannot be said to be a profiteer. After all, at this price, anyone can tell that it is fake. People come to this kind of small shop to buy fakes. Suddenly, a very beautiful hand stretched out from behind, holding a golden glass bottle, which contained some very important liquid for men, and on it was a line of mighty and domineering English, Indian god oil. No, thank you, I'll take a look. Natasha refused habitually. However, before she finished speaking, she suddenly became alert. Something is wrong. The dignified Black Widow, one of the most powerful agents of SYNOPSIS, didn't even notice that the other party was walking behind her. She didn't even notice that there was someone behind her. In addition to Master Wang, is there another hidden master in this small shop? Natasha was about to take action immediately. Then she saw that hand suddenly move to the side, put the Indian magic oil on the shelf, and took a box of Durex. Or is this what you need, Agent Romanoff? Chapter 49. Do you have Iron Fist's contact information? It was working hours, and there weren't many customers. So when Lao Wang said he was going to close the shop temporarily, the old men and women he knew all looked at Natasha. The presbyopic grandma son next door winked at Lao Wang and pursed her lips. The myopic boss Chen at the west end of the street gave him a look that said I understand, no need to explain, and the old lady Li who was practicing Takai 3 blocks away snorted unceremoniously and dragged old man Li away, muttering men are all bad and the red flag is flying at home, and the colorful flags are flying outside. Which made old man Li very embarrassed. It also made Lao Wang helpless. He felt that Natasha had taken advantage of him for no reason. Lao Wang was still very pure in his life, and he kept himself clean. What else could he do if he wasn't taken advantage of? In short, the legendary agent of SHIELD came to the door, and the shop had to close. Sky sat at the cash register, tapping and typing, busy promoting the Azeroth specialty store on the internet and opening an online store. Robbie took Gabe home to do his homework. Lao Wang moved the recliner into the store and lay down next to the door. Natasha stood opposite. This made her a little confused. Why do I feel that I'm the suspect and the two opposite are the agents? Am I here to investigate them, or are they here to interrogate me? As a dignified Black Widow, it's not that she has never experienced this before, and she can even be said to be experienced. But those are all disguises. The purpose is to get the information she wants, and then let the other party enjoy the Black Widow brand Invincible Sizzle Eggs personal service. And now, it seems that she is really being interrogated. The only thing missing is torture. How is it missing? I wonder what the famous Black Widow is doing in the store. Lao Wang whistled, looking at Sky who hurriedly dropped his computer and walked over, thinking that the effect has been good recently. With a drop of essence wine every day, her physical fitness has been rising, and it seems that she has started to develop again after adulthood. Everything is good, even her height has a trend of further growth, and it is constantly moving towards 1.7 meters. The Well of Eternity is indeed the source of Azeroth's original energy. In terms of the growth of all things and the nourishment of life, its effect is indeed much stronger than that of scalpels and height increasing shoes. They are not on the same level at all. Lao Wang has never been a stingy person. Although there is not much essence left in the Well of Eternity, and not much blood of Azeroth, it should be used. Not to mention how much potential Sky has in the future. Based on the relationship between the two, it is necessary to give it, but not too much. Sky, like Gabe, is far inferior to Lao Wang in physical fitness, so he can't give too much each time. Otherwise, although it won't explode like a balloon with a bang, it will be wasted. Diligence and thrift are traditional Chinese virtues. Hearing Lao Wang's words, Natasha's body tensed instantly. Black Widow. This nickname comes from a distant northern country. Although it is not like the Winter Soldier, it is a legend that many intelligence agencies do not believe, but not many people know it. In addition to the intelligence agencies of various countries, only a very small number of big figures at the top of the world's power and wealth know it. Master Wang actually knows it. It's not simple. The most important thing is, few people dare to mention this nickname, including the top brass of S.H.I.E.L.D. Those who can't control their mouths will not end well. Under normal circumstances, Natasha would definitely not be polite when she heard someone call her Black Widow. But now, her whole body suddenly relaxed. Her temperament changed abruptly. From a cold and silent Black Widow, she transformed into a mature woman with great charm, exuding irresistible charm from head to toe. With her wonderful body and seductive eyes, the spider spirit instantly turned into a vixen. "Can't I come to buy things, Master Wang?" She blinked. TSK, full of electricity. Lao Wang looked Natasha up and down with a purely appreciative eye, examining this charming woman. Well, height 160 centimeters, weight 48 kilograms, 3-dimensional. Sky snorted. The strength of pinching shoulders increased by 3 times. Lao Wang remained calm. A real warrior, dare to face Sky's destruction, dare to face Natasha's temptation. What kind of suffering and happy people are these? With the mentality of this is also a kind of practice, Lao Wang adhered to the beauty and skeleton view, and scanned Natasha in the way of artistic aesthetics. This was the first step of looking, smelling, asking, and palpating. The old Chinese doctor was not vague. Without even using the true key, Lao Wang judged that Natasha's injuries had almost recovered. But it was not completely healed. He was in a hurry to come out to investigate. Did Luden think of me like this? At that time, Lao Wang carried Natasha and injected her with true key for treatment. He strictly controlled the dosage, treating minor illnesses, and controlling major illnesses is effective in most cases. For example, now, okay, the store is open for business and welcomes guests from all directions, including SHIELD. Lao Wang made a pleased gesture. "Beautiful lady, what do you want?" "I'm injured, very seriously." Natasha rubbed her chest, which looked very painful and pitiful. "I heard that Master Wang is the best Chinese medicine doctor in the United States. Can you help me? My fee is very expensive." Lao Wang was more reserved. "Don't worry, money is not a problem," Natasha promised. "This is a work-related injury, and the organization will reimburse the full amount." SHIELD is a big company, so why would they care about this little money? "Come here, let me take a look." Lao Wang waved his hand without getting up. "Why does it feel like he's summoning a pet?" Natasha complained in her heart, then twisted her waist and walked in front of Lao Wang. Lao Wang raised his hand. He grabbed towards Natasha. 10 minutes later, Lao Wang shook his hand that was almost swollen by Sky, feeling helpless. "His chest hurts, so of course I have to look at his chest. Can you stop imagining? You have to see all the painful places clearly. I have a strong sense of professional ethics. I'm not stupid. How can I flirt with another woman in front of a woman? I've taken a close look. You were shot in the back, waist, thighs, calves and other places. Your internal organs were injured in many places. A normal person would not survive for more than 5 minutes. TSK, a master must save your life. Otherwise, even with your physical fitness, you will not live for more than an hour." Lao Wang shook his head with emotion, his face full of admiration. Such a master is really amazing. There is only one in 1,000 years. He must be an old Chinese medicine doctor and a grand master who has lived for more than 100 years. "Agent Romanov, you are so lucky to meet such a grand master. Excuse me, do you have his contact information?" "Thanks to Li Zan from World of Warcraft for the 1000 reward. Chapter 50. You are sick. I have medicine. Natasha couldn't help rolling her eyes while tidying up her messy clothes. Are you implying to me that Kunlun Iron Fist has lived for more than 100 years? Has he experienced the era of Captain America? In addition, looking at your exaggerated acting skills, I know that you probably know Iron Fist, and you are probably his apprentice. Why are you pretending? Also, it's really shameless for you to praise your master like this. Sky's hand on his shoulder became 3 points heavier. Haha. Lao Wang, you are really shameless to praise yourself in different ways like this. But you are telling the truth, because I think so too. It's a pity that the Grandmaster passed away after saving me. My external injuries have all healed, but the internal injuries in my heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys, etc. are still far from being healed. Without the Grandmaster's help, even if I go to the best hospital, it will take at least a month to heal, and there will be sequelae. Natasha looked at Lao Wang with tears in her eyes, as pitiful as she could be. Master Wang, there must not be many Grandmasters like that, right? Do you know one? Can you introduce one to me? Don't worry, money is not a problem. I don't know one. Besides, is a Grandmaster a greedy person? That's not what they pursue. Lao Wang had an expression of I also want to meet a Grandmaster, and helplessly spread his hands. The Grandmaster is like the dragon in the Oriental legend, who can appear and disappear, can be big or small, and you can't meet him, just because I want to. But I can ask for you. Our group, Circle is relatively well informed, and maybe we can find him. Natasha blinked. Master Wang, are you hinting that it's not easy for you to meet Iron Fist, right? And you have another organization, which should be Kunlun, right? Although you can't see Iron Fist at any time, you can contact other people in Kunlun, is that right? Kunlun seems very powerful. There are many people. Also, if you want to see Iron Fist, it's useless to give money, you have to give good things that money can't buy. Natasha thought for 2 seconds and bit her lip, but I'm afraid I can't wait. Master Wang, can you heal my injury? She wanted to try this Master Wang again. Master Wang seemed to want to cooperate with S.H.I.E.L.D. in his words and deeds, which was most likely instructed by Iron Fist or Kunlun. What is their purpose? There is no spare tire for no reason in the world, and there is no goodwill for no reason. A mysterious organization that is very likely to have existed for hundreds or thousands of years suddenly did this. What on earth is it for? S.H.I.E.L.D. knows too little about Kunlun. Perhaps we can see through the fog surrounding Kunlun from this Master Wang. Whether it is hostility or cooperation, we must first obtain enough intelligence. If the intelligence is not equal, we will suffer. Your injuries are too severe. Although I can treat you, the effect may not be better than that of a big hospital. Lao Wang shrugged. Natasha was thoughtful. Don't you want to show your true colors? If it is true, then Master Wang really has mastered Kai, but it is much worse than Iron Fist. This is also terrible. I don't know how many such people there are in Kunlun. A few, dozens, or hundreds? Natasha was a little disappointed. It is impossible for the S.H.I.E.L.D. technology department to cure her injuries in just a few days. She is not Captain America and does not have such a strong self-healing ability. The director decided to deal with Hydra. At such a critical moment, his strength has declined due to his injury. How can it be possible? At this time, Lao Wang spoke. Although I can't do it, it doesn't mean that the medicine can't. You are sick. I have medicine that can cure your injuries, but it's a little expensive. Lao Wang snapped his fingers. Sky, go and move the jar of Azeroth signature essence wine that has been stored for 72 years. Ah, good. Sky stopped and walked to the innermost part. He picked up a jar of wine from the top of the shelf. Antique and fragrant. High-end and classy. Drink as much as you want, no limit. When you finish drinking, your injury will probably be healed. Lao Wang glanced at the label on the jar. Thank you. 1 million. Sky hugged the jar tightly, as if holding a big golden ingot, afraid that Natasha would snatch it away. Pay first, then deliver. No bargaining for small businesses. Natasha glanced at the label. It clearly said 1 followed by 5 0. Beauty, you don't know how to count. It's obviously 100,000. How much is 1 million? It's a lot. Although she is a legendary agent of SHIELD, her monthly salary is not much. The treatment is based on the level, not the legendary degree. She is not the director, so she has no conditions to embezzle and deduct. The money she has saved over the years, since joining SHIELD is not even 1 million. Of course, 1 million is definitely not a lot for SHIELD. The director should approve it, right? A single black hair pulled out by someone is thicker than his waist. The question now is, can this thing really heal my wounds? If it can, it is actually worth it. After all, I'm very important now. There is a big difference between recovery and injury. The impact on the next action cannot be compared with 10 million. Moreover, such a magical medicinal wine, I have to give some to the Ministry of Science and Technology for research. Maybe I can analyze the chemical composition and study the brewing secret recipe. If I can do it, I can realize mass production in the future, and the value will be at least equivalent to 100 million, or even 1000. This is the most important thing. But what if it can't? No matter how rich Shield is, it can't be a sucker. It will be laughed at by Hydra. At this moment, Natasha was very hesitant. But after thinking about it, she felt that it shouldn't be a big deal. After all, in most cases, the loss of an action, or the payment for the damage caused, is more than 1 million. Kunlun Iron Fist is so important. Why does the director care about a mere 1 million? If he could successfully invite Iron Fist to join SHIELD, or join the Avengers that was about to be formed, even if it was 100 million, the director would still pay for it. I'll make a call and transfer the money within 10 minutes. Natasha didn't bargain, not wanting to have a conflict with Master Wang over a mere 1 million and leave a bad impression. It wasn't her own money anyway. She didn't ask how much Master Wang's account was. If SHIELD couldn't even find this out, it would have been banned long ago. How could it hold its current position? Lao Wang was very satisfied and glanced at Sky. What is salad for 72 years? It's actually erguotao, mixed with boiled water, and the ratio is very touching. Then drip 1/10 drop of essence wine. Yes, 1/10 drop. At that time, Lao Wang dripped a drop into a bottle of erguotao, shook it, and then poured it into 10 jars, and filled them with water. Lao Wang is not a profiteer, and his purpose is not to sell wine for money. This is just a means to deal with SHIELD. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Sky's 100,000 yuan turned into 1 million yuan, which was increased 10 times. This is too much. Lao Wang jumped up from the recliner quickly, pointed at the jars piled up in the innermost corner, and said with a smile, "Come back after you finish drinking, but you have to act quickly, otherwise it will be gone soon. We have limited edition, only 10 jars in total." 10 jars. Just. Natasha was reporting to Luden on the phone, and she felt something was wrong when she heard this. The medicinal wine with a price tag of 100,000 yuan, and sold for 1 million yuan, just 10 jars. Why do you feel that you are not selling high-end medicinal wine, but barreled beer, the kind sold wholesale? Is it really a scam? But Wang's voice was quite loud, and the sharp-eared Luden on the other side heard it. A deep and magnetic voice followed. "Buy them all. Let him give you a 50% discount. 5 million in one shot. Director, you are really rich. Did you win the lottery?" Natasha didn't ask why. She turned her head and said to Wang, "Master Wang, if you can give me a 40% discount, I will take all these essence wines. Are you going to use the other 10% to buy cosmetics?" Wang was very curious. "Natasha." The director obviously lowered his voice deliberately. "I kissed the phone with my ears, and I could barely hear it. How did you hear it? He is so young and still wears hearing aids." "Okay, 50% off." Natasha originally wanted to save 1 million for SHIELD, part of which could probably become her year-end bonus. Black Widow also needs food, clothing, shelter and transportation. Didn't Carlson say that there is now a technology for scar removal without traces? It's time to save money for my bikini. But forget it now. It's more important to win over Iron Fist. Sky wanted to raise the price, but Lao Wang had already extended his left hand. "Deal. Don't be greedy. Know when to stop. Only by laying a long line can you catch a big fish. There will be many business opportunities in the future. Don't let this little money affect big business." Lao Wang is not short of money. A few million is nothing. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like, Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.